find it on Amazon. You can get that 2-day shipping from Amazon Prime, and then you get Prime Video along with it. Now, Peacock, on the other hand, is a traditional regular streaming service, and so it's more difficult for maybe not as many people have Peacock, but the kind of obviously these streaming services want these standalone games because if Landon, if you don't have Peacock and you say, well, I'm
But
a
I
huge,
do.
well, in this situation you do not have Peacock.
Oh, okay. I got rid of it.
You don't have Peacock, and you go and you get Peacock just to watch the Grizzlies game or to watch one of those standalone playoff games in the NFL. Well, you might have that Peacock subscription. You might look around and you might say, oh, I didn't know that this show was on Peacock. Oh, or I heard people talking about this show. This looks interesting. Now I'm going to keep my Peacock subscription. But there are other people out there, Landon, that they're going to get Peacock just for the one game they want to watch, and they don't care about any of the other television. Like, I think of Brett when I think of that.
Yes.
Like Brett would get I mean, one day he might get
I don't
Peacock.
think he'll get Peacock.
One day he might get Peacock to watch one of these games. But I know Brett doesn't care about Love Island. Brett doesn't care about, I'm trying to think of the shows that are on.
Love Island.
Well, I'm just trying to think of the shows that I know are on Peacock, and that was the first one that came to me because I know everybody and their mother was watching.
Parks and Rec and The Office are on there.
Sure. Brett's not watching either of those shows.
He's missing out.
So
Great shows.
For him, a package of the NBA package where you get just the games on Prime and just the games on Peacock, that might work for him. But it's one of those where the Peacock's not going to want to do that. The NBA, it's just weird with these streaming services. So we're in a completely new era now. But six of the 10 games on streaming only for the Grizzlies. That means 4 that will be on traditional national television.
Does it mention what streaming services yet?
Yes.
Which ones?
So I think of those 6. I think I did the math.
I know they do. I know, what is it? Max has a big. Isn't Max the one that, or Max and TNT are the ones that do?
But TNT doesn't have the NBA anymore.
Oh, they don't.
No,
that was just last
year.
year.
That was last year, right?
Okay.
So if you had TNT, they didn't have any streaming-only games on Max. But if you had a Max subscription,
I know there was a lot of college basketball on Max.
Yeah, so you could, if any game that was on TNT or TBS, like around tournament time, when all those games were on there, if you had a Max subscription, you did not necessarily have to have cable that had those channels. You could watch those games on Max. Very different, though, from, I guess not very different, but different in a sense of these games will not be on television like it was for Max. But so of those games, those are 6 games that are going to be on streaming. 3 of them are going to be on Prime, and 3 of them are going to be on Peacock.
Okay.
So that means the 4 other games that the Grizzlies will play on national television, 3 of them will be on ESPN, and 1 of them will be on NBC.
One NBC game.
One NBC game. Now,
we made it.
I guess so.
To NBC.
I don't know. I wonder if I doubt every team is playing on NBC this season.
I don't think so.
I'm sure a lot of teams are playing on NBC, and I'm sure there are a lot of teams out there that are playing more than just one game on NBC. I highly doubt the Lakers are just playing one game on NBC. So that's the first thing that DeMichael Cole said he was looking at. The second thing that DeMichael Cole said he was looking at was the first part of the schedule, early on when you might be dealing with some injuries. And the good news about that is 8 of the first 11 games for the Grizzlies are at home. So it's a lot of home games to start the season. Grizzlies, not as much travel. You're a little more comfortable at home. 5 of those 11 teams that they play in the first 11 games either didn't make the playoffs last year or were a play-in team, so kind of lower down. Now, a caveat to that. The Dallas Mavericks are included in those 5 teams because they were a play-in team last year, did not make the playoffs out of the play-in. But I think a lot of people will tell you that Dallas is going to be much better this year, getting a lot of guys healthy, having Cooper Flagg on their team. Now, Kyrie Irving will not be playing during that game as he continues to recover from an injury. But kind of on the flip side of that, the Pacers were not included in that 5. And Tyrese Halliburton is going to miss the entire season with an injury, so I think a lot of people thinking they will not be as good as they were last year. So I think it evens out in terms of about 5 of those teams were not playoff teams. You look at the start of the season, the Grizzlies are going to open with 3 straight home games to start the season, and they will start the season at home against the New Orleans Pelicans. So it'll be, I know we talk about it a lot. Brett brings it up a lot about how for a while there, especially after Zion and Ja were the number 1 and number 2 picks in that draft. A lot of people wanted that to be a rivalry between New Orleans and Memphis. So, I think a chance that we could see those two on the court against each other, something that we have rarely seen since they've been drafted.
Their big rivalry is staying healthy.
Yeah, it's them versus injury.
Them versus themselves.
That's right, yes. But the season will start at home against New Orleans, at home against Miami, and at home against Indiana. Miami and Indiana, that will be a back-to-back, a Friday and Saturday. They'll then go on the road at Golden State and then at Phoenix before returning home to play the Los Angeles Lakers. That's a game October 31st, Halloween. We knew about that game because that game is a part of
the NBA Cup.
NBA Cup. It will be the game on Prime. It's a later start, 8:30 start time. That is the only visit to Memphis by the Los Angeles Lakers, according to Rob Fisher. So if you want to go see LeBron, if you want to go see Luka, you got to go on Halloween. That's the only time they're going to be here.
When do we face the Nuggets?
That's all you care about is when we face the Nuggets. Well, let me wrap up this thought, and then I will figure out where the Grizzlies play the Nuggets. So after the Lakers, they go back on the road at Toronto. So I'd say out of those first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, you're favored in 4 or 5 of them, I would say.
I would say we can walk away with a winning record from that.
Sure. Then after that, to wrap up this homestand, or this 8 of your first 11 at home, home against Detroit, a team that looked much better last season after being a laughingstock. Home against Houston.
Okay.
Home against Dallas. And home against Oklahoma City. That's 4 really tough games.
That's a bit of a drastic change there.
Yeah. That is really tough. Denver comes to town Monday, November 24th.
Booyah.
That is the week of Thanksgiving.
Sure is.
November 24th, a Monday. It will start at 7 o'clock local time. So
I will be giving thanks for the memories that Jonas gave while he was here in Memphis.
Is that the only time Denver?
I thought we played them twice.
Yeah.
Well, I know we play them twice.
Yeah. You play them 4 times. 2 on the road, 2 at home.
Right.
The second home game, Sunday, January 25th.
Oh, it's a great time.
A 2:30 start, so an afternoon game against Denver.
You said that was a Sunday?
It's a Sunday.
Wow.
Sunday afternoon at 2:30. So that is certainly a game you can go to. So
I can go to both.
You can go to both of those games.
Mark my words, I'll be there.
Exactly right. So mention the first part of that schedule. The last 3 things quickly, and again, we will talk a lot more about scheduling in the next segment. So going from the front part of the schedule, the January travel schedule. We know the Grizzlies will play games in Berlin and London in January. The good news about those 2 international games, the Grizzlies will play 4 home games before leaving the country, and then 6 of their next 8 games will be at home once they return to Memphis from playing their final game internationally in London. The reset period, again, DeMichael Cole talking about the Grizzlies and their struggle after the All-Star break last season. The Grizzlies, going into the All-Star break, play 5 straight road games, which is the longest road trip of the season. So the Grizzlies are definitely going to be wanting to get back or get on that All-Star break after all those games on the road. And those 5 games are pretty tough games. 3 of them certainly tough games at Sacramento, at Portland, at Golden State, and at Denver.
Yeah, Sacramento's not that good anymore.
Yeah, so I guess 2 of them are really tough. Sacramento feels like it's always a toss-up against them, but you're saying that because Jonas isn't Sacramento.
There's always an angle with me.
I don't know how much of the Sacramento roster you know outside of.
They have Dario Saric.
That's true.
Because of the trade with Jonas.
That's exactly right. You know exactly who he was traded for. That is phenomenal.
Well, they got DeMonte Sabonis.
That's right. Yes, that's all you need to know. But after the All-Star break, the Grizzlies started at home against Utah, and then the next night at Miami, followed by home games against Sacramento and Golden State. So a little weird coming out of the break. You play a home game, and then you got to go the next night on the road against Miami. And it's not easy after that. It gets really tough after those 2 home games against Sacramento and Golden State. From February 27th to March 16th, 7 of those 9 games are on the road. And then finally, that final stretch of the season, DeMichael Cole mentions that you look at recent years, the Western Conference playoff picture really gets determined over that final week and a half of the season. Memphis will end the season with 3 straight road games, 4 of their last 5 games on the road. Sunday, April 5th at Milwaukee, Monday, April 6th versus Cleveland, Wednesday, April 8th at Denver, Friday, April 10th at Utah, Sunday, April 12th at Houston. Those are some really tough games. I think Houston's going to have probably another down season. But outside of that, those are all big hitters, really tough opponents to end the season. So that is not the best way to end the season. But we will talk a lot more about the schedule and what it looks like for the Grizzlies, some things that jumped out to us looking at the schedule that was just released about an hour ago. But I got to set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, we'll talk more about the NBA schedule that was released earlier this afternoon. 3:45, we'll talk Major League Baseball. A couple day games already underway today on a Thursday afternoon. 4 o'clock, Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. He'll join us to talk the NBA. At 4:30, we'll talk the NFL. A lot of news out of the NFL as we get ready for preseason week number 2. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Greg Gaston. He'll join us to talk Tigers. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Mo's Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together, and they need your help to clear out the warehouse. All in-stock patio furniture up to 60% off, and 4-piece deep seating sets only $999. Chase Lounges, buy one, get one half off, and all Polywood furniture now 20 to 30% off. Head out there and get that outdoor dining table, purchase it, and get a free umbrella. Special financing is available, but it's only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Well, let's pause for a second and let Brett give you a word about our great first hour sponsors, Lexus of Memphis.
This hour every day brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but they invite you to stop by the only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for a luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
I should also remind you that you can be a part of today's show. Hit up the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line, 901-360-8255. Again, that's 901-360-8255. Let us know your thoughts on the Grizzlies schedule. What jumps out to you when you look at it? We'll be talking a lot about the Grizzlies and what the schedule looks like going into the season. Again, if you need it, a perfect reference for the schedule is over on Rob Fisher's X account. He lays it all out really nicely with color coordinated and bracketed and little notes throughout the schedule, letting you know kind of some tidbits about different stretches of the season and different games. So let us know your thoughts on the Grizzlies season. But let's go ahead and get to top story of the day.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it's got to be the NBA releasing the schedule. And I just got to say, I know we spent a lot of time talking about the Grizzlies schedule. We're going to spend more time in our next segment talking about the Grizzlies schedule. I hate the way schedule releases are done today. I mean, I can't stand it. It feels like everything. NFL, we've got to have a 2-hour show on ESPN where we drop the schedule. Today with the NBA Today crew had to get to it first at 2 o'clock, and we kind of got a couple tidbits here and there from the schedule. And then at 2:15, the whole schedule drops for every single team. The SEC, they do a show now on SEC Network where they release who you're going to play in conference every season. I mean, enough with the shows. Just give me the schedule.
It's all about the views and the money.
People watch that?
I guess.
I don't watch it.
It's the only reason they do it, I would presume.
And look, I'm never gonna get mad at somebody or judge somebody for what they watch, but it just seems very boring to me to watch, unless it's like your job.
You're
like,
not just sitting in anticipation saying, "Oh, when do the Grizzlies play next?"
oh my gosh, they're playing OKC in January. Like,
No, actually, we're playing the Nuggets in
that's
January.
right. Yeah, on a Sunday in January, Jonas is coming back to Memphis. Like, I don't know.
I'm excited for that.
It doesn't do it for me. Just release the schedules
might just be me.
and let everybody just look at them and
I get your point.
cover them as you wish. But if you want to drop the schedules in the morning and then have those reaction shows, that's great. And I understand it. Like, ESPN's a big partner of the NBA. They want to be the first to have those, but I don't know. It's not for me. I'm sure it's for somebody out there. I'm just not that person.
Interesting. That was your top story?
That was my top story. I just wanted to rant about how
that's-
how I'm getting my schedule nowadays.
That's okay. My top story has to be the confidence of Cam Ward and how contagious it has to be. Yesterday, Cam Ward said that we have a top 10 offense in the league. Today, he says that the Titans have a top 5 wide receiver core in the NFL. Do I believe him? Yes. Is
What?
it delusion? Partly. Calvin Ridley is coming off of 1,000-yard year with Levis at the helm. Performance and numbers-wise, Tyler Lockett is coming off of his worst year from the Seahawks. Van Jefferson coming from the Steelers, and Russell Wilson only had 276 yards and 2 TDs. And these are our projected starting 3. Does it scream top 5 wide receiver core? I love Cam. No, it does not. But as far as it's going, we'll just have to see. But you gotta love and admire Cam Ward's confidence in his team and the leadership that he's showing with this team. He's going in. He's not pulling punches. He knows what he's working with. He's out there every single day putting on a show. But regardless of what happens, regardless of how these things come to be, the Titans will certainly be better than they were last year.
Not top story of the day.
All right, for my not top story, I'm going to start it with 2 questions for you. 1, how much do you take away from joint practice and joint practice reactions?
I don't know. It's very one-sided because I, of course, have been seeing all the updates the Titans post in their joint practice with the Falcons, and I saw that we were just mossing on their secondary. And I'm sure if I followed the Falcons, I would see the inverse of that.
Does that come from, like, the actual Titans?
NFL
social
and
media?
Titans.
Okay, I'm talking about, like, beat writers' reaction, like people who cover the team, those type of reactions, like people who are paid to be objective and actually tell you what's happening, supposed to be.
I take it about as much a grain of salt as I do preseason games. Not much.
Okay, now my second question, how worried are you about the Miami Dolphins going into the season?
Not really. I've heard a lot of reports saying they may be a sleeper team this year. They still have Tyreek. They still have Jalen Waddle.
Okay, now that's a great question. A third question. Do the Dolphins fit the mold of a sleeper team? They were bad last year.
Yeah.
But they still have all those guys that they had when they were really good.
I think a big plus though is last year Tua was not concussion ridden. He was actually safe last year.
He did jiu-jitsu to learn how to fall.
Of course. I mean, that's literally the class for it. Shout out to him. That's fantastic. But I mean, I'm thinking going into this year, and this is a more personal bias, they also signed Nick Westbrook-Akine from the Titans, and that dude was a touchdown machine last year with Will Levis at the helm. And anybody who performed well under Levis, they've got to have something special about them. So they have weapons around them. Sleeper team, I would say so.
Okay. I bring all this up because I saw a report from Colton Pouncey, who covers the Lions for The Athletics. The Lions and the Dolphins will meet in a preseason game this weekend, and they've been having joint practices yesterday and today. Yesterday, he said the joint practice between the Lions and the Dolphins, quote, was the most lopsided joint practice I've ever seen. Lions dominated both sides.
Well, that's got to be good news for the Lions.
That would be great news. And I read the story him and another reporter did, like, together. It was a joint story about the day in camp, and both of them, they wrote that they were both blown away by how good the offense looked with a new offensive coordinator and how good the defense looked. And on the flip side, how bad the Dolphins looked pretty much the entire practice. Now, it sounded like today was a little more competitive for the Dolphins, but that coming off of last season makes me kind of worried about this Dolphins team. We know Mike McDaniel, he's gotta start winning if he wants to keep his job down in Miami.
Well, that goes back to my old adage about preseason games. Last year, the Titans went undefeated in preseason, won 3 games, and then we turned around and only won 3 regular season games.
Yeah.
So I think the purpose of all that is to say, hey, we look good, and hopefully that translates, but that's about all I'm giving attention to.
Yeah, I don't remember what sport it was, but it was like maybe NHL, where like it was almost a good thing. No, maybe it wasn't NHL. There was some sport where if you were terrible in preseason, like it was something like the worst team in preseason for like a really long time was like the best team in the season. But I don't remember what sport that was. I could have that completely wrong. It could be the flip side of that. If you were really good, you were really bad during the season. But something like that. So, yeah, still all preseason. But I got my eye on the Dolphins. That's all I'm saying.
I do, too. My not top story, I found a list of the most lopsided ACC rivalry games in the last 10 years. And for some of these, lopsided doesn't do justice to some of these matchups. They're really, really bad. The first one was with NC State and North Carolina. Over the last 10 years, North Carolina only has 3 wins in 2015, 2019, and 2020. The next one is Clemson and Wake Forest. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not think that this was a rivalry. And when you hear this list, it's really not a rivalry. Wake Forest doesn't have any wins in the last 10 years. I don't want to discredit that as not a rivalry, because for the longest time, Florida and Tennessee, Florida just kept sweeping the floor with them, multiple wins. It's still a rivalry. Maybe not to that degree, though. Next is Pittsburgh and Syracuse. The Orange only have 2 wins in the last 10 years, 2017 and 2023. Virginia Tech. Virginia has only snuck out 1 win, and that was in 2019. And Clemson and Florida State. Florida State has 1 win in the past 10 years, and that was in 2023.
Wow. It's a recent win, but not many.
Yeah, that's kind of verging on not really being a rivalry.
I would say so.
But to be fair, I don't really keep up with ACC rivalries.
No. I can't.
Only one I can think of is Miami and Florida State.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't go through like the worst, the most heated rivalries in the ACC.
Clemson and Wake Forest is not that.
No. That doesn't scream heated and must-watch rivalry.
Not to me at all.
Definitely not. But I am excited to watch it. At this point, I'll watch any type of college football.
Hey.
No matter if it's a great rivalry or if it's just a terrible lopsided rivalry.
We're close to week 0.
We're so close. Next week, and at this time next week, we will be breaking down week 0 games. How exciting. That is very exciting. I know you're excited. You're Hawaii.
Go Bows, baby.
Your Hawaii team plays.
Oh, man. Yes, I am excited.
That'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's get to our first break. And when we return, we'll talk a little bit more about the scheduling news that came out today. All schedules across the NBA came out. We'll talk about the Grizzlies, what jumps out to us. We'll do that next on Sportstime.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I think a lot about golf, and when I think golf, I think Miramichi. Did you know Miramichi Golf Course offers membership? It's a great way to play more golf for less out of pocket. Their memberships run for $300 a month plus tax, and that includes unlimited rounds and range balls, no extra cart fees, priority tee time booking, and discounts in the pro shop. Oh, by the way, there's no initiation fee. Miramichi green fees, they'll allow you to choose the right rate at the right time on the right day for your needs. If morning tee times are more important, you can book up to 14 days ahead of time to reserve your spot. If rate is more important to you, there are discounted evening rates available that you can choose from. Miramichi is now open on Mondays, and you'll find the lowest rate is on Thursday. Sometimes you just need to escape the hustle and bustle of life. Miramichi Golf Course provides just the right place to solve that need. The name Miramichi means place of happy retreat. When you need a quiet, peaceful round of golf, please make your way to Miramichi.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems, like snoring, aches and pains, hot sleep, or even an old saggy mattress that can keep you up at night. And our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now get a king bed for a queen price, plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos and enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. T-Nights out here sorting out a couple of earlier accidents, especially in the Midtown area. It's trying to build at times. Over here on 240 up by Poplar, Walnut Grove, we've seen some rain showers within the last 30-45 minutes out here on 40 headed into Fayette County. So be careful if you're headed out in that area. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters. Go by and see David right now at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Landon with you, and we got to talk more about the NBA schedule. It was released about an hour ago, so we know every single date and time the Grizzlies will play this season. We are not going to go game by game. We are not going to break down wins and losses on the schedule just quite yet. I don't know if we'll ever do a full 82 win-loss. I'm
sure Brett's already working on his.
I highly doubt it. I don't think anybody wants to hear an 82 game win-loss for any team, even the Memphis Grizzlies. Yes, I'll go out on a limb and I will say that. But we talked about it a lot in the first segment about things that jump out. Some other things that jump out, I mentioned 8 of the first 11 games are at home for the Grizzlies, so it is a nice little stretch with a lot of home games to get started. We talked about the injuries. We know that Zach Edey will miss some time to start the season with his surgery recovery, and there is a thought that Jaren Jackson Jr. could miss some time to start the season. He will be reevaluated in September, right about the time that camp opens up, and then we'll have a better idea of when he will return to play. Again, reevaluated does not mean return, so we definitely will probably see him miss some more time. But will that stretch into late into October? We will find out in September. A good nugget that Rob Fisher puts on his notes on the schedule. Saturday, October 25th, the Grizzlies host the Indiana Pacers. It's the third game of the season, a 7 p.m. tip for the Grizzlies. Rob Fisher notes that is the only Saturday home game during college football. So you might ask, well, what's going on locally that day in college football? Are the close teams, are the local teams playing on that day? So I went and looked. Obviously, that is so far out that we don't have times yet for any of those games, but I can tell you this. On October 25th, the day the Grizzlies host the Indiana Pacers, the third game of the season, the first Saturday home game of the season, the Memphis Tigers play at home against South Florida, which could be a big game. Mississippi State plays at home against Texas. Ole Miss is on the road against Oklahoma. Tennessee is on the road against Kentucky. And Arkansas is at home against Auburn. So a couple of the local teams are playing at home. A couple of the local teams are playing, I should say regional, because they're not all local. But we have fans in this area for all of those teams. And a lot of fans that like to make the trips to those games on the weekend. So a couple playing at home, a couple playing on the road. So I'll be curious, what time is that game for the Tigers against USF? Will some fans be able to go to the Tigers during the day and then get downtown to FedEx Forum that night for the game against Indiana. But a good note there from Rob that that is the only home Saturday game during the college football season. We mentioned that tough stretch to end the 8 of the 11 at home. Detroit, Houston, Dallas, and OKC. 4 straight home games, but against really tough opponents. You come out of that when you're done against Oklahoma City on November 9th. 9 of your next 11 games are on the road. So let me just extend that. We talked about how tough those 4 games are. Home against Detroit, home against Houston, home against Dallas, home against Oklahoma City. After that, you go on the road to the Knicks, on the road to Boston, on the road to Cleveland, and on the road to San Antonio, your next 4 games. So that is a really tough, 8-game stretch? And
yeah, that's bad.
That's brutal. Out of those teams, let's just go through. I don't have it in front of me, but Detroit was a playoff team last year. Houston was a playoff team last year. Dallas was not, but again, a lot, pretty much everybody thinks that they'll probably be a playoff team this year, that they're going to be much better this year than they were last year. Oklahoma State won it all. The Knicks were a playoff team. Boston was a playoff team. Cleveland was a playoff team. San Antonio was not, but again, everyone thinks that San Antonio will be a lot better this season with the roster that they constructed, getting Victor Wembanyama back as well. That's really tough. Now, you look at it, Boston kind of in the same position that Indiana is. Their star player, Jason Tatum, is going to be out for the entire season. What will they look like? Some of their moves in the offseason might make you think that not taking the year off, but won't be as competitive this year as they've been the last 2 years when they, or I guess last 3 or 4 years when they've been in the playoffs and, even won the NBA Finals. So that is a really tough test. You come back for 1 game against Sacramento, then you're back on the road against Dallas, at home against Denver, and then 4 more straight road games at New Orleans, at the Clippers, at Sacramento, and at San Antonio. So some really tough games there kind of when we get into November with 4 straight home games followed by 4 straight road games, all against really tough competition. Rob Fisher also mentions that there are 4 back-to-backs in March. You've got Tuesday and Wednesday, March 3rd and 4th at Minnesota and home against Portland. You've got Monday, March 9th and Tuesday, March 10th at Brooklyn and at Philadelphia. You've got March 20th and March 21st. That's a Friday, Saturday, home against Boston and at Charlotte. And then you have Friday, March 27th and Saturday, March 28th, both home games against Houston and Chicago. What has jumped out to you about the schedule the most when you're looking at this year for the Grizzlies?
Well, like you were mentioning, there's a lot of stretches where there's difficulty. I know we were on Recess Radio, we were looking at that some schedules have difficulty spikes. This seems that the Grizzlies hit like stretches of them where they're going to be challenged really, really tough. I think one of the things I was seeing was I remember early on last year, the Brooklyn Nets gave us a lot of trouble early on in the year and then kind of dwindled out. So I think now we're getting them kind of middle of the year, later to the year. I think we turn things around on them, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot here. There's a lot here to look at. There's a lot here to anticipate. We can speculate as much as we want, but as far as this year, it should be interesting. I think the Grizzlies are probably going to do the same. You always hope for something better than last year, but as far as anything standing out, it's just that stretch right before All-Star break is I think we're going to be in survival mode throughout that. Then we get there and hopefully we bounce back, because if we look at last year, us leading up to the All-Star break, we were playing top-notch basketball. We were doing really, really well. Then All-Star break hit, and it just seemed like we were a new team on the other side. So you're hoping we can carry that consistency all throughout the season. We can hope that our guys can stay healthy. We need Jaron, we need Jaw on the court as often as possible. We can't have those guys just missing nights for no discernible reason or just because they're feeling a little bit of soreness. Like, we're paying these guys to be the name brand for the Memphis Grizzlies. And so I think if they stay out there, if they continue to perform well night in, night out, not asking for perfection for October all the way to April, but giving us something more than what we've seen recently out of Jaw. When Jaw's out there, he does fantastic. But when he's not out there, it clearly hurts. So hopefully we see a lot of Jaw this year.
Yeah, it's a good point you made because 2 points you made. One, you look at what the Grizzlies did last year going into the All-Star break. They were absolutely rolling. 13 of their last 17 games going into the break, they won. So they were playing extremely well. But you go into the All-Star break. Well, really, you have the game on February 8th where you get beat 125-112 against OKC, and it didn't even feel that close watching the game.
Yeah.
And then the game right before All-Star break, you go out there 128-114 loss against the Clippers. Again, kind of same thing. Did not feel that close watching the game. Both of those felt like beatdowns. And then we know what happened coming out of the All-Star break. It was really, really bad. The Grizzlies really struggled, and it really spiraled out of control to end the season. But you talk about early in the season. I mean, the Grizzlies start the season last year on the road against Utah. They get a win, and then they lose on the road 2 nights later at Houston. I don't think we really knew what Houston would be at that point last year. We didn't know that they would have that type of jump and be the type of team they were at the end of the season. But then, you get home for your home opener, you beat Orlando, and then it's back-to-back losses against 2 teams that I think a lot of people thought you should have beaten in Chicago and Brooklyn. Then just a couple weeks later, you lose on the road against Brooklyn. And then I think there was another Brooklyn loss in there at some point in the season. It felt like Brooklyn kind of had your number throughout the season. At least 2 losses against them. I want to say maybe a third loss in there somewhere. Maybe it was just that 2 and you saw them again and you beat them. But, you got to avoid some of those losses against teams that, you feel pretty confident that you can beat. We mentioned some of those games that are on the schedule early. What is New Orleans going to be this year? I don't know. But, you would love to start the season with a win there. Miami, it feels like they've kind of been, in this almost purgatory the last couple of years of kind of just play in after play in after play in. Can you get a win there? Sunday, November 2nd at Toronto, what do they look like? Can you get a win against them? Because this year, and it's been this way recently, and it's going to continue to be this way, you're going to see a ton of Western Conference teams because you're in the Western Conference, and none of those games are going to be easy. You look at this, at Golden State, at Phoenix, then home against the Lakers. Those 3 are really, really tough, and that's 3 straight games. We talked about that 4-game stretch where you have Detroit in there, but then it's 3 straight Western Conference teams in Houston, Dallas, Oklahoma City that are all going to be really tough. So, the Western Conference is never going to be easy, and I think that's the big thing of having your guys available, like you mentioned, having Ja out there, having Jaron out there, having some of these other guys available throughout the season, trying to get healthy and staying healthy throughout the season. Some other quick nuggets I want to get out there before we get to a break. Golden State, their only visit to Memphis will be an ESPN game. It will be February 25th. That is a Wednesday night, a 6:30 tip on ESPN. And then the other thing I wanted to point out, the end of the season. This is what really jumped out to me and what really worries me about the season for the Grizzlies. Because we talk about how tough the Western Conference is. Last year, if you go back to it, we were talking late in the season. Will the Grizzlies be a play-in team? Will they make one of those final spots? Will they be the 6th seed? Where will they be in the playoffs? And it came down to those last couple of games in the regular season. You look at the way the season ends for the Grizzlies. From March 25th to April 3rd, the Grizzlies have their longest homestand of the season. They'll play San Antonio, Houston, Chicago, Phoenix, Dallas, and Toronto all at home. But then the final 6 games of the regular season are all super tough. At Milwaukee, home against Cleveland, at Denver, at Utah, at Houston. Those are 5 really, really tough games. and even, Utah in there. I don't think Utah is going to be a very good team this year, but because it comes after Milwaukee, Denver, and Cleveland, 3 teams that have been phenomenal the last couple of seasons, what are you going to look like? Are you, how are you going to play on the road a later game against Utah? But I think that should be a win. All the other ones, I don't think you can confidently call those a win when you're just looking at the schedule today. And so if you're finishing the season, you look at those last 5 games, let's just say you win 2 of them. You beat Utah, and then you just pick one of the other.
I think that's also being a little gracious.
Sure, but I'm just saying,
yeah.
Let's just say you win 2. What's the rest of the Western Conference doing? That's not, that could dock you a couple spots if you're in playoff contention. If you're trying to get a spot, that could really dock you. And like you said, that might be generous. You could be talking about looking down the barrel of a 1-4 finish to end the season. And then, you're completely tanked if the Western Conference is as close as it was last year. So definitely some interesting things from the schedule reveal. We'll talk about it more a little bit with Keith Smith. I know Keith Smith's been super busy looking at all the schedules around the NBA. I don't want to, really force conversation just about the Grizzlies schedule with Keith. So we'll probably talk about it a little bit with Keith, but then talk a lot of the other NBA news that is circulating. And then tomorrow, again, 5 o'clock tomorrow, Rob Fisher will join us, and we will really break down the Grizzlies schedule, talk a lot of Grizzlies offseason with Rob Fisher. But we need to get to another break, and when we return, talk a little Major League Baseball. That's next on Sports Time.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Let's up your life with Let's.
Surprise the family with a new club car and experience the best golf cart in the industry. A new golf cart is perfect for cruising the neighborhood, enjoying yourself at the lake, turning heads on the course, and just having something reliable to use around the yard. Ladd's has you covered with new and used golf cars. The new Club Car Onward, available in electric or gas and a variety of colors and features. Ladd's goes beyond the green. Whitney I-40 or online at lads.net.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. If you are a first-time guest or have dined with us countless times, I want to thank you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us. We can't wait to serve you.
Congratulations to Napa Cafe, celebrating 27 years of great food and service for you. Napa Cafe.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back in to Sports Time. Bryant and Landon with you. We're live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. And Landon, did you hear about the Milwaukee restaurant that said they would give free burgers to everybody in Milwaukee if the Brewers won 12 straight games? Were you familiar with this?
I was not, but man, are the Milwaukee Brewers performing.
They are phenomenal. They are so much fun to watch. We talked about it a lot yesterday. They just keep winning, and they did it again yesterday. So George Webb Restaurant is giving away, it's a chain in Milwaukee, I guess.
Burger joint.
Throughout Wisconsin. They have 23 locations in Wisconsin, and they said back in the 1940s, George Webb boldly predicted a 12-game winning streak for Milwaukee's team, first the Braves and later the Brewers, and famously said the city deserved a free burger if it ever happened. He didn't promise it outright, but here in Milwaukee, promises are kept. This was according to their website. The magical feat has only happened twice before. In 1987, the Brewers ran off 13 straight to start the season, and George Webb handed out 168,000 free burgers in one unforgettable giveaway. In 2018, another 12-game streak spanned the regular season and playoffs, led to 90,000 free burgers plus 100,000 redeemable vouchers. So yesterday, the Brewers were going for win number 12, and they got it yesterday afternoon. We talked about them winning 12 in a row, and so now, thanks to George Webb, they will be handing out free burgers in Wisconsin, Milwaukee. I don't know if it's just Milwaukee or if it's all of Wisconsin.
Is this every location?
So I thought it was just Milwaukee. So I didn't know about it, and last night I'm watching Sports Center, and they're like, man, the Brewers are going for free burgers in the city. I'm like, what are they talking about? And they even interviewed Brandon Woodruff, who was the starting pitcher last night. And I don't want to say anything bad about Brandon Woodruff. Look, I love a good burger. Brandon Woodruff looks like he also enjoys a good burger. You know, he's in shape, but he's in baseball shape, if you know what I mean.
Baseball shape is different.
And he even said, like, they asked him about it after the game. He was like, I was super nervous because I did not want to be the pitcher that kept all of Milwaukee from getting free burgers, and also I kind of wanted a free burger. So this is what it says. This on their website. The free burger giveaway will be held on Wednesday, August 20th from 2 to 6 p.m. at all 23 George Webb locations throughout Wisconsin. So that tells me that as long as you're in the state of Wisconsin, you get a free burger on August 20th.
Now, is there any more guidelines, or is this like they have multiple burgers to choose from and you can go crazy? Or is this just standard hamburger?
Probably just, it might be a cheeseburger, but my guess is just like the plain.
Because I'm just trying to think of any loopholes that might be in
I think it's whatever their number one is. You know, you go to a burger restaurant, the number one is just a regular
Chick-fil-A,
cheeseburger.
regular sandwich.
Regular chicken sandwich. You go to McDonald's, you order the number one, it's a regular cheeseburger, right?
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I say that. I don't know if that's a fact or
I'm not sure either.
But I know at Chick-fil-A
that's not a Big Mac. I don't know.
I don't know. It might be the Big Mac. I don't know. But usually when you go to a restaurant, it's like a
Log
chain
Cabin
like
text
that.
line. What's number one on McDonald's?
What's number one at McDonald's? But usually when you go to a restaurant, you say, give me the number one. It's like their standard
That's what they're known for.
Whatever they're known for. So I'm guessing you go to George Webb, you're just getting the number one.
Yeah, that's
now,
fair.
I have a buddy that spent the last year in Wisconsin. I am texting him right now, asking him if he has ever visited George Webb and if they produce good burgers. I will give you an update later on if we should maybe make the trip up to Wisconsin to get a free George Webb burger. I
don't have any ties to Wisconsin.
Would you ever make a trip? Like, is there a restaurant or a product that, like, obviously, I'm not saying like if Louis Vuitton was like, we're giving away free handbags, but if, like, is there a restaurant or a place that you would drive out of your way if they said we're doing a free giveaway?
That would have to vary.
I don't think there's anything for me. Now, if I'm there, like if
well, I just don't know of any like world or nationwide renowned restaurants.
But like I'm saying, like here, like if Tops Barbecue said, or Huey's said, we're giving away free Huey burger, but you got to be at our restaurant between like 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Are you taking time out of your day to go and get a Huey burger?
Am I still here, or am I from out of town?
Let's just say you're here. Would you go out of your way, like make time in your schedule to go just because they're saying it's free?
Yeah.
Really?
To go get a free burger from Huey's? Absolutely.
All right, let's go, because this feels like, I don't know what kind of place George whatever is. Let's say it's like, what's like a local, I don't even know, like a local fast food place.
Like all around.
Like just in this area. If Chick-fil-A said we're giving away free chicken sandwiches.
Oh, they do that all the time.
Do they?
Yeah, I just filled out a survey yesterday and got a free chicken sandwich.
No, not surveys. You have to be there, like, because this is saying you have to be there between 2 and 6 on like a
2
random.
and 6. That's a great window.
That is a good window. Okay, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm the one
Are
tripping.
you just trying to say you would not do that?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Would I go out of my way on
I feel
Wednesday?
like you starting out with Huey's was a bad call because
I was just thinking something
Huey's
local.
is a great burger.
All right, we got to get to a break. We'll think about it. We might come back to this at 5:30 during what's trending.
Don't make any promises.
I'm just trying to make sense of what I go out of my way.
Let's just say it's a great deal if you're a Brewers fan to go get a free burger.
Shout out to George Webb. Shout out to the Brewers. I mean,
hey, great burgers. Hopefully.
Maybe. I'm going to find out. We'll let you know if George Webb has good
We
burgers.
need the inside intel.
We got to get to a break right now, wrap up this first hour. When we return, we're going to talk more about the NBA. We're going to talk schedule release, other news and notes from the NBA. Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. He joins us next.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Sports 56 traffic.
The Midtown traffic's gotten a little bit heavier in the last 15-20 minutes southbound on 240 here at Lamar. It's traffic cranks up now, trying to get south of Memphis on the interstate. Some rain showers down through there a little bit earlier on 55, traveling down through certain parts of DeSoto County. Busy right now, but moving on 240 east at Mill Branch all the way out to Bill Morris Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters. Go by and see David right now at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Landon with you. No Brett today. He'll be out the rest of this week, and he'll be out all of next week. But we got to talk some more NBA. We talked a lot about the Grizzlies' schedule, what it looked like after it was released earlier this afternoon. But now we got to talk more NBA, and we do it every single Thursday with Keith Smith.
Time to talk NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Rack and the Front Office Show, and on Twitter X at Keith Smith NBA. Here's Keith Smith talking basketball with Bryant and Brett.
Keith Smith joins us every Thursday from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. Keith, thanks so much for joining us. When all the schedules are released, what are things that you look for in different team schedules?
I usually look for, like, road trips. First of all, like, do they have a extremely early or a very late road trip? I obviously look to see who not. I don't get caught up in this team has the amount of national TV games, but I look to see who got some of the national TV games, the ones we didn't know. Right, we've known Christmas, opening night, those. But like, who got the Saturday night games? Who got the Sunday afternoons when ABC picks those up? What does that look like? So those are things I look for. And then, of course, because I'm a kid who grew up in Boston, I look for when do the Celtics and Lakers play each other there. And then because I'm located in Orlando, I go through the Magic schedule, especially for the Western Conference teams that only get through here once per season.
Yeah, well, looking at the Grizzlies schedule, you talk about kind of what do those road trips, long road trips, and different things look like. The biggest thing that jumped out to me looking at the Grizzlies schedule, and I got to give DeMichael Cole a lot of credit because he wrote a story this morning talking about the things he was looking at when the schedule was released, and he pointed out that last year and in recent years in the Western Conference, because of how competitive it's been, that the seeding really comes down to the last week and a half of the season. When you look at the Grizzlies, 4 of their last 5 games of the regular season on the road, at Milwaukee, home against Cleveland, at Denver, at Utah, and to end the season at Houston. That is not the kind of schedule you want to have if you are jockeying for playoff positioning.
Yeah, it's always tough, right? Because you look at it and you say, one, you're absolutely right. You don't want to be on the road that much, but it is what it is. But then when you really come into it, you kind of wonder, like, Cleveland, Houston, Denver, are they going to even have anything to play for at that point, right? Or are they going to have things kind of locked up? And if they do, sometimes that's to your benefit. Sometimes I've seen teams say, hey, sometimes you play the better teams late in the season, and you're actually better off because they don't really have anything to play for. So, but those are definitely some, at least, as we sit here in the middle of August, those look like some pretty tough matchups for them to close the season, minus the Utah game, which that I think they should be okay if the Grizzlies are going to be the kind of team we think they might be.
Absolutely. Another thing a lot of people were looking at was kind of how the early season laid out for the Grizzlies, because we know Zach Edey will miss some time with an injury, and Jaren Jackson Jr. could miss some time to start the season. He'll be reevaluated in September. 8 of the first 11 at home, so at least you'll be playing inside FedEx Forum. But when you look at those two type of injuries for Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson Jr., what do you think kind of that timeline is looking like for those two?
Yeah, I mean, the Zach Edey one sounds like it could be, well, I guess at this point we don't. Sounds like they're both going to be limited to start training camp at least. And then we'll see. And I don't think the Grizzlies are going to push either guy. I think they are going to be very conscious of, let's make sure these guys are really ready to go, because they are going to need them to make the kind of run they want to make, which is, really season-long, goal. So I have not heard any kind of update other than, the updates we were given when Jaren Jackson Jr. got injured, and then when Edey had the ankle surgery. But I will say this, the Jaren Jackson Jr. one, definitely unfortunate because you don't want to see that happen to a player. But the Edey one, this sounds like one of those where they decided collectively, hey, this is going to be a problem, and you probably could have kept rehabbing and managing it and getting him through it, but let's get this surgery done, and this will hopefully take care of it. It won't be anything we're kind of having to manage throughout the year and maybe for years of his career. So I always think that's the smart approach.
Definitely. And we know this year is going to look different in terms of how we view the NBA because of the new television partners. You've got NBC, you've got Prime, you still have ESPN. Looking at the Grizzlies schedule, 10 nationally televised games, but 6 of those 10 games will be streaming only, either Peacock or Prime. We've talked a lot about Peacock and Prime and NBC kind of coming into play, but how do you think the viewers, the NBA audience will react to having 2 streaming-only players that are now going to have marquee games throughout the season?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. I think there's a component of a younger audience that's like, okay, cool, that's how we do it anyway, right? Like I don't ever turn on, traditional cable, and maybe they don't even have it. So I think for them that's okay. I think where you may see a bit more of a challenge is when you get into those nights and it's, okay, I want to watch, Grizzlies play, Team X, and it's on Prime, but I also want to check in on other games. Is it going to be easy to kind of hop in and out and go? Because, for me, I have DirecTV, and I have NBA League Pass on DirecTV, but on the nights when it was ESPN or TNT, it's just, a flip of a channel versus, all right, let me close this streaming app, let me open the other one, let's see what it looks like. So that's one of the questions that's out there, and I've seen people ask, and I think, unfortunately, I think the answer is no. On these nights when they are streamed on Prime or Peacock, are those games going to be on, connected to League Pass? I think the answer is no. So I think fans need to be prepared for how they're kind of managing that if you want to flip around from game to game.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Another question I have, and I know it's going to be a question that I'll bring up. Rob Fisher from the Grizzlies television broadcast is going to join us tomorrow. But I know that in the past with the last media rights deal, I think it was games on ESPN, you could have your regional broadcast, but games on TNT, you could not have your regional broadcast. And so I'm curious, when you get those games on Peacock, when you get those games on Prime, will you still have your local broadcast, or will those just be the national broadcast and you have to go to those streaming sites? Because like you said, Landon and I, we are both very young, and so we're fine with the streaming. Most everything we do is streaming, but for a lot of other people, it's going to be different. And I'm curious of, will you still be able to have that local option on those streaming games?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I really hope the answer there is yes, because everybody at this point, I think, can one way or another get to NBC or ABC. Mm-hmm. I think that's as simple as if you have an internet connection, you can get to those. ESPN often, even without a Disney or ESPN account, you could still watch the games that are on ESPN by going to ESPN.com. So I really hope for Peacock and Amazon Prime. Yeah, if you're sitting there in Memphis and that's where the Grizzlies are, I hope you can still dial it up and watch the game that way, and ideally watch it, with your home broadcast if that's the way you want to do it. So that is a great question. I unfortunately don't know the answer to that, so I'll be curious to see what you find out on that one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something I'll have to bring up. But getting away a little bit from the scheduling news. Well, before we get past scheduling, you mentioned we kind of already knew opening night. We knew the Christmas Day schedule. What did you make of those 2 dates?
Yeah, opening night, we knew the Thunder would be in there. It was, always, it's a pretty good bet. The Lakers will be in there in the late game slotted. So I think they did good with that. It's, of course, the NBA, they will never shy away from drama. So Kevin Durant and the Rockets being there, that's kind of fun, to watch KD watch the Thunder hang a banner. And, I know people kind of went at him a little bit, and he went back to, about time they won one. And, he's already, done it himself. So I don't think he's overly concerned about it, there. Then, Christmas, I think it's a good Christmas slate. Clearly, very Western Conference heavy. I think 8 of the 10 teams playing are West teams, and you got the Cavs and the Knicks in the East. But it looks like a pretty fun one. I think it's fun to have some new faces in there and some different teams, and I think they did a pretty good job with the matchup. So I'm always excited for the Christmas schedule anyway. And it's funny. I had a conversation with a couple of my friends who worked for the Celtics, and they were like, after doing it for a number of years in a row, we're kind of okay with having Christmas off this year. And that's where I think a lot of people fall is like they know like that's a showcase, right? It's really cool to play on Christmas Day and the games everybody grew up watching. But I think eventually people are like, all right, I've been there, done that. I'm ready to be home on Christmas with the family.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we have a lot of people, a lot of guests, and a lot of friends that work with the Ole Miss network and cover Ole Miss. And obviously for so long they were playing the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving. I know a lot of them, when they moved last year from Thanksgiving to Black Friday, a lot of them were saying, it's fun. It's kind of that staple, but it's kind of nice to be able to have a Thanksgiving where we're not doing a game and can be with the family. So I completely understand that. We're talking to Keith Smith. He joins us every week to talk the NBA from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. You mentioned the Celtics on Friday. The Celtics and Joe Mazzulla agreed to a multi-year extension. We don't know the details of that extension, I don't believe, but what do you make of the Celtics locking down their head coach?
Yeah, well earned. I think it was kind of expected. I think the Celtics are looking at the ownership change is one part of transition for the organization. Then I think you look at the roster is obviously very much in transition. No Jason Tatum this year. So I think between Brad Stevens and a lot of his staff, minus Austin Ainge, who has now moved on to run the Jazz, and then but you've got Stevens and most of the front office group, and you have Joe Mazzulla. I think they wanted to really make sure, let's have some stability there within our leadership here. Let's really kind of put things in a place where we feel pretty good about things going forward. And I think it's smart, get this taken care of. Not going to be a question, because I think the other thing is what this answers is whatever this season is, it'll be. And if they're bad, they're bad. No, they'll deal with the fallout from that. But it's not going to put a spotlight on Joe Mazzulla where if they, struggle without Jason Tatum and after the trade, it's not going to put something on Mazzulla where it's like, well, they went, 35 and 47 and missed the play-in tournament. Is it time to fire Mazzulla? I think everybody now knows, hey, we're going to let this season play out however it plays out.
Yeah. Absolutely. And speaking of new ownership, it sounds like Portland is in the process of completing their sale to the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes. I know a lot of people in Portland, a lot of kind of rumors about, if the team sells, could that new group, could that new owner come in and decide to move the team? But it sounds like all reporting is that they'll stay in Portland. It sounds like the NBA kind of really telling any new owner and anybody that was going to try to buy the Portland Trailblazers that we really kind of want you to stay in Portland, because they are, and we've talked about this with you a lot, the NBA is more interested in expanding rather than relocating. That's at least what it seems.
Yeah, and I think the league went through a number of years where Seattle kind of hung over franchises as, well, you better figure it out. Otherwise, maybe someone will buy the team and move them to Seattle. And I think the NBA is now in a position where we're past that. We don't need to hang Seattle and Las Vegas over people's heads. Clearly, expansion is going to happen. It's going to come. I think we're in a place where when that happens, we'll see. I think we're a little bit away from that being a thing. I think the league is now focused on, let's do this NBA Europe expansion. Let's see what we can kind of make happen there, and maybe that comes first. But they will expand. But Adam Silver said, we want 30 healthy teams in the cities they're in. And he's kind of said that pretty repeatedly. And I think he's, very I think he's being very candid and honest when he says that. He doesn't want teams being bought and moved because they respect the fans and the fan base, and they want those folks to feel like, hey, we've got our team, and we don't have to worry about them, playing somewhere else and being moved, out of our city, especially a place like Portland where they've been there for a very long time and they're ingrained in the culture of the city.
Yeah, no, I think you definitely gotta respect that, and definitely like that they are keeping that team in Portland. We talk a lot about scheduling, a lot of kind of these things away from the court, but there are still some decisions and deals that need to be made with a lot of these, especially restricted free agents in the league. I know we talked about Jonathan Kuminga a couple weeks ago with you and what's going on with him in Golden State. A guy we talked about a lot towards the end of the season was Quentin Grimes and what he was doing with the 76ers. Had a bigger opportunity late in the season after being traded to the 76ers and really shined in that opportunity, a restricted free agent. What's going on in Philadelphia between Grimes and the 76ers?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot like Kuminga, that it's a staring contest at this point of, all right, who's going to blink first and go? And the team is kind of locked in on what they're offering, and the player has not come down on what he wants. And we're not at a point where there is a, huge rush to get these things done. Philly's not looking to really do anything else as far as their roster goes. They're pretty well finished. And I think they're in a spot where, hey, we're not going to move off our number. And I think Philly is trying to be very careful. They've obviously got Embiid and Paul George, who are, the news on them has not been great, that they're both going to start the season kind of coming back from some stuff and may not be ready to go at the start of the year. And then you have a lot of young guys and money invested in your backcourt already with Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, and BJ Edgecombe, who they just drafted. So I think for them to go in and say, here's $20+ million a year for Quentin Grimes, that's starting to be, all right, well, we can't really play all those guys together, and we've got a lot of other money on the books. They got to be careful. And then from Grimes' standpoint, he's looking at it and saying, hey, I had a breakout season. I was playing so well. He was starting to win a couple games you didn't want to win. They shut me down. So where are we going to go with this? That one and Cam Thomas. So the two that feel like we may get to the point where we may see guys just sign the qualifying offer and say, you know what, we'll play out the year, bet on ourselves, and we'll be unrestricted free agents next summer.
Yeah, that'll definitely be interesting to watch, especially with Cam Thomas and kind of what he's doing in Brooklyn with that Nets team. Last thing for you, Keith, before we let you go, a story that has kind of been floating under the radar, I think, but what do you make of this story with the former Miami Heat employee that has been charged with stealing a $3.7 million LeBron James jersey and hundreds of other items and memorabilia from the Miami Heat?
Yeah, I mean, not good, right? And if you're the Heat, you want your players to feel like when we come into the locker room, whether it's at the training facility or at the arena, this is home, right? And the people who are going to take care of us are going to keep our stuff safe and take care of us. And now I think, if I have this right, when I was reading the articles about it, they didn't take anything that was personal to the players. Right. These are all items that the team had kind of squirreled away because they were like, when we do our Heat Hall, are going to be items that are going to be featured in there. But this guy had access and was able to grab these things and get away with it. And you then wonder, like, did he, go into players' lockers? And we've all been there. There's not a lot of people hanging out in the locker room during a game or during a practice because they're out on the floor with the team and taking care of them out there. So that does get worrisome when it's a team employee. This wasn't, Joe Schmo off the street broke in and did these things. And that's, all right, well, we got to work on our security and figure it out. This was a team employee, and that's just not good. It's not where you want to be if you're the Miami Heat. And I guarantee a lot of teams now are relooking at some of their protocols and who has access to what around their building.
Yeah, no, definitely a weird story, and I'm sure a lot of players, not only in Miami but probably around the association, kind of looking around and saying, "I hope that's not happening here." But definitely glad that they were able to catch him and figure out what all he has taken from the Heat. Well, Keith, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll talk to you again next week.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Keith. Keith Smith. He joins us every single week from Spot Track and the Front Office Show to talk the NBA. And a lot of NBA talk today because NBA schedules released for every team in the association. CBS Sports already put up the top 10 must-see games of the 2025-26 NBA season.
It's always got to be the first people, huh?
You ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready.
Top
Let's
10.
do it.
Top 10 must-see games. We're starting off opening night. Thunder versus the Rockets on October 21st.
Yeah.
NBA champs. Kevin Durant coming
Kevin
back to
Durant
OKC.
with the Rockets.
That'll be fun. October 22nd, so the next night, Mavericks versus Spurs. That is the number 1 pick Cooper Flagg against the number 2 pick Dylan Harper. It will also be Cooper Flagg playing against Victor Wembanyama. I say must watch. I think it's an ESPN game.
Well, sounds like a great game.
Sounds like a really good game. October 29th, Pistons against the Magic. Orlando feels like everyone thinks they could be the sleeper team in the Eastern Conference this year. Detroit had a great season last year after being just an absolute dumpster fire the year before. What set the record for the most consecutive losses in the NBA, or at least tied it.
Yeah.
Seems like a fun game.
Fun game.
I don't know if I'd say it's must watch.
Yeah, must watch might be a stretch. Enjoyable watch.
Let's see what it
yes.
says. Okay, all right. Here, they're on to you. They're on to you, Landon. At first glance, this may not jump out as a must-watch matchup compared to the other ones on this list. It lacks the megastars to drive ratings or sustain success, and neither squad can generate the widespread attention needed from casual fans to boost interest. But the Pistons and Magic figure to be two of the most intriguing teams in the East this season. These are two up-and-coming squads with promising young cores who could very well be in the running for a top 4 seed in the East. We'll get to see which one of these teams has the edge over the other in the rebuilds as both try to take advantage of some injuries to the top of the pecking order in the East.
So, basically exactly what we were just saying.
What we said. November 3rd, Pacers and Bucks.
Interesting.
Basically, they're saying this is a must-watch game because it's the Miles Turner.
Yeah. Revenge game,
And
quote
I think
unquote.
it's in Cambridge, so it's at Indiana. So it's the return game. November 26th, Warriors and Rockets. Yeah, I would say that's a must-watch game. Again, Kevin Durant being a part of that, I would say so. Timberwolves Thunder on November 26th.
That'll be a fun game.
Another really fun game. You got Anthony Edwards. You've got SGA. Really fun game. Oh, here we go. November 28th, Lakers and Mavericks. Oh, anytime those two teams meet from here on out is going to be
it's
a
gonna
big
be huge.
game. Luka and the Mavericks. This one is... I don't know where this game is being played. I don't know if this is in Dallas or not, but it will be a game where Luka will see his former team.
What was the date on that?
November 28th.
November 28th.
It seems like the way they're listing it would seem to me that is a game in L.A., but I do not know.
That is in LA.
Okay, so that's a home game for the Lakers, but still
On
against the
Prime
Mavericks.
Video.
All right. So
That's an NBA Cup game.
Oh, love that. All right, a cup game. December 19th, Knicks and 76ers. Yeah, it's a good game. Good game.
Yeah, okay.
December 25th, a Christmas Day game, Knicks and Cavaliers.
Knicks and Cavs.
Could be the best two teams in the Eastern Conference this year.
Could be.
Could be.
Few questions on the Knicks team.
Sure.
But I guess seeing on how things are going at the unofficial start of the NBA season,
That's
as we
right.
call it in Christmas Day, could be an interesting matchup.
Finally, January 19th, Cavaliers and Thunder.
Yeah, that'll be a
That'll
good
be a
game.
good one. That'll be a really good one. It says a potential NBA Finals matchup.
Yeah,
So,
I think so.
I think so.
For my money, Nuggets in the finals.
Okay, yes. Ask you anything about the NBA, and you're gonna say something about the Nuggets
Or the Grizzlies.
or the Grizzlies. But
Grizzlies or the Nuggets.
you don't think the Grizzlies are going to the NBA Finals
No.
this year? Oh, okay. Well, at least you're out front about it. That's
I am.
That's a good thing. I'm excited.
I think we'll reach play-in again.
Okay. Well, at least postseason's there, I guess.
Hey, We'll get postseason.
That's right. But I am excited about the upcoming NBA season. Still a good amount of time before we see some actual action, but getting one step closer today with the schedule being released. But I do need to remind you that maybe this weekend it'll be a perfect time. Head down to Olive Branch and check out Frontier Western Store. Family owned and operated since 1957, Frontier Western is your one-stop shop for the biggest brands in Western wear. Check out Frontier's world-famous boot showroom. Whether it's work boots or dress boots, Frontier has you covered for the entire family with plenty of in-stock proven classics like Ariat, Dam Post, and Durango. And that's just to name a few of all the different types and different brands of boots that they have in stock. Frontier Western's also the one-stop shop for Carhartt in the Mid-South. But like I said with the boots, they've got so many different brands. They've got you covered with shirts, shorts, jeans, outerwear, whatever you're looking for, they've got it in stock. But if you're looking for a new pair of jeans, you got to stop by Frontier Western. They've got all the brands from Ariat all the way down to Wrangler, and you'll love how easy it is to find the perfect style and size for you. At Frontier Western, their pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know you'll be getting the best deals. Head down to 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch and check out the entire selection. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Head down to Frontier Western Store and check out, or head down to Olive Branch and check out Frontier Western Store. Let's get to another break. When we return, we are only a day away from preseason week 2 action in the NFL, but there's a lot of stories, a lot of news and notes around the league that we need to discuss. We'll do all that next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Virgos. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in a 32-ounce jar. It's so good to baste or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef, and she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet or a steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meats. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper was more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with a perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at the Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it.
A beloved family affair and still going strong since 1948, the Rendezvous.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Drive like a pro and support a great cause during the sales drive at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, and Landers Ford North in Covington. We've provided over 100 new Fords to be driven by the pros at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Now they're all being sold with demo prices. A portion of the proceeds go directly to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. This is a once-a-year opportunity to trade up to a 2025 Ford Expedition or Explorer. Demo priced below market value. That's right. Demo priced 2025 Fords below market value. Visit LandersMemphis.com or come see us at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, or Landers Ford North in Covington. With our Landers Easy Pass, you can get top dollar for your trade-in to help you save even more. Don't miss your chance. Reserve your demo priced 2025 Ford driven by a pro at the FedEx St. Jude Championship before they're sold. Remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
This traffic report brought to you by Salt Sports Bar and Bistro, 3101 South Mendenhall Road, where great food meets the big game.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We have seen some rain showers out here in certain areas as it gets heavier now. On 240 east from Mill Branch out to 385, it's cranking up pretty good Midtown. 240 south as you come past South Parkway. I-40 is on the increase westbound. Here at Danny Thomas, back across the bridge over into Crittenden County. If you want a greener, more weed-free lawn for the rest of the summer into the fall, call Brandon Holly right now at Lawn Solutions here in Memphis. That number is 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
And she says, I wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids, they seem to fit in. I wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids.
Back into Sports Time. Bryant and Landon with you. We're live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. And we got to talk some NFL because we're getting closer and closer to the season. I had my fantasy football draft last night. I'm not going to be one of those people that tells you all about my team and who I drafted.
Oh, I was genuinely curious.
Anything like that. It's different, though, because, and it kind of threw me off my game. You told me yesterday that you're not in the fantasy football league this year, but you are a big fantasy football
I enjoy it.
player. Are you the type, because I feel like you're either one of two. Either you go to your draft and you just wing it, you just try to back the football knowledge that you have to get you through the draft. Or you deep dive into all of the rankings and all the podcasts and all the stories and all this stuff, and you're going to be the most prepared for your fantasy draft.
Option one. It's not that deep.
It's not that deep. I'm with you. But yesterday, as I was getting prepared for my fantasy draft, and as I was leaving here and then going to my fantasy draft, I was like, I'll listen to a fantasy football podcast. Just, maybe give me a little nugget here or there that I can use for my fantasy draft. Well, the problem that I found during the draft is that I'm in a keepers league. So it's not just like a regular fantasy league where you start with nobody on your roster and then you got to go out and draft the entire thing. Everybody in my league got to keep 3 players from last year's team. My 3 keepers, I'll tell you that at the very least: Bijan, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas.
I like those.
Pretty good. 3 pretty good keepers. 3 young guys. 3 guys that you could make the centerpiece of your team.
Malik's a baller.
Yeah, I agree with that. So last night, the thing that bothered me, because you see all these things this is a guy that I would target, round 3, round 4, round 6. Problem with keeper leagues is you're basically, because everyone gets 3 keepers, you're basically starting in round 4 rather than starting in round 1. So I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, ooh, they said that this is a good value pick around round 6. So I'm going to keep this guy. I'm not going to draft him yet because I think he could fall to about the 6th round. Problem is, we were already basically in the 6th round, and that guy that I had my eye on, he was taking in our 2nd round. And so it's just
that's how it works.
I was not ready for the keeper draft.
I go in and I queue up players that I want, and if they're not there, I make sure I have backups ready.
I like my team. I like my team, and I
Who's your QB?
My QB. Okay, so that's the other interesting thing about this league is it is a super flex league, so you can have 2 quarterbacks in your lineup.
Oh wow!
Yeah, how about that?
Kind of a cheat code.
Kind of. So I don't know if I love one of my quarterbacks. I don't know if I love the other quarterback. So the fella in my quarterback position, Josh Allen. Gotta love that one. Gotta love that one. My super flex, hoping for a bounce back year to an extent. Had a great year 2 years ago. Not as great last year. C.J. Stroud.
I would say C.J. did not have that bad of a year last year.
I didn't think he had that bad of a year.
It was not as great as his rookie year.
It's not what everyone thought it was going to be.
No, but he still did really, really good.
I agree with
And I think with the weapons he has returning at the Houston Texans, that they're still going to be really, really good. Mainly because they're playing in the AFC South.
Yeah, well, that is a very good point. And then I have a third quarterback on my roster, which I was told that was a bad idea. But I'm keeping this fella in my back pocket and hoping, at the very least, I can use him as a trade piece later in the season.
Aaron Rodgers.
J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
J.J. McCarthy.
I'm not big on JJ.
I'm not huge on him, but everyone tells me he's going to be really good. And if he is really good, then somebody will want him, I would assume.
Or maybe you'll want him.
Or maybe I'll want him.
And then maybe you'll trade
Maybe
CJ.
I'll trade CJ Stroud. That's the thing, is I have two quarterbacks that I think I'm fine with, and or I can trade and I think other people would want to have.
So you're playing the long game.
I'm playing a little bit of the long game. So yeah, that was my fantasy draft last night. I thought I did a nice job with it. Some other people, though, last night while I was having my fantasy draft were watching the New Heights podcast. Did you tune into the New Heights podcast?
I
Taylor
sure
Swift was the
caught
guest.
the highlights of it, and I don't know why we're bringing her even more into the sports world, but I'm not a fan.
I'll tell you why we're bringing her more into the sports world. If you're Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce and you have a podcast, 1.3 million people were watching it live when it debuted last night.
And 1 million of those are Swifties.
I would agree with that. 10 million people have just watched it on YouTube. And this is a product that you can get on wherever you get podcasts. Apple Podcasts, the podcast app, Spotify. You can listen to this all different types of places. Only on YouTube, it has gotten 10 million views in less than 24 hours. By far, the most viewed New Heights podcast since they have started. So that, my friend, is why Taylor Swift was on the New Heights podcast.
For my money, just go back to the Philly Special singing their Christmas album.
That was the thing that happened.
It was. Hey, don't knock it. That was a good song.
I hate the Phillies, so
I know you do, but look past that and look to the joyous occasion that is Christmas.
I do love Christmas. That is a good point.
Only reason I bring that up is because that song is in my liked songs, and I was listening to that in preparation for today's show, and I let it play through. Christmas music, man.
Interesting.
Gotta
Christmas
love
music
it.
in August. I don't know if I can.
Oh, don't get me started on my theories.
Your theories? I don't want. I'm like, you're right. You know what?
On when I think is the best times to listen to Christmas music.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. Just give me like a short and condensed, the shortest and condensed.
Oh, it is short.
Version of this you can give me.
So when I say this is like maybe a song or two, just to remind you. First time, Dead Heat of Summer. Get you a song or two. It reminds you colder times are coming and that Christmas is down the pike. When it starts to get colder outside, so around the beginning of fall when weather starts cooling.
What if I don't want to know that colder times are around the corner? I hate the cold.
Well, then don't do this.
Okay, so this is just for you.
This is just for people who
cold-minded people
who love Christmas as much as I do.
Yeah. I love Christmas. I just don't like being cold.
Okay. So when it starts to get colder outside, fall is right around the corner, or it's here, and you listen to a couple more Christmas songs, you're like, oh man, we're inching closer and closer and closer. And then the final time when it's okay to have it in your library and your bank all the time, day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely.
That doesn't really have much to do with football.
No, it doesn't. Getting back to the football, Jerry Jones, he just continues to make headlines. He's already told us that he's in the business of making headlines. The more controversial, the better for the Dallas Cowboys. Today, he alluded to the fact that he does not expect, that he does expect Micah Parsons to play in week 1. Now, I bring this up because this comes just a week after he said on an interview, I believe a radio interview, that he was absolutely not confident that Micah Parsons would play in week 1.
Man, how the times are
against
changing.
the Eagles. So 1 week passes, and he is confident that that he expects Micah Parsons to play in week 1. He was asked if extension talks, because they're wrapping up their time out in California doing camp. They're wrapping that up. They're about to head back to Dallas. He was asked that would extension talks pick up once they got back to Dallas. His answer, quote, "I don't know that necessarily talks will, but we got a game coming, and he's under contract." End of quote. Then a separate quote, "You don't have deadlines when you're playing under a contract." So basically saying he's under contract. I expect that he'll be out there playing under his contract.
Did he miss the whole part where Micah requested a
Mhm.
trade and
Yeah.
they're just not honoring that at
Yeah.
all?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, because I'm pretty sure everyone has been saying that they think Micah Parsons, if push comes to shove and we get to week 1 and he doesn't have a new contract, there are a lot of people out there that are saying they believe that Micah Parsons will not play if he doesn't have a new contract, that he will sit out of games.
Would you?
Yes. If
You would not play.
I would not play. But if I was with,
I'm not in disagreement at all.
but I say that because if I was with any other organization, I would say I'd probably play. Probably already have a contract. Probably wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, any others, but I think besides maybe the Commanders.
Yeah, maybe the Commanders. That's
Everybody else, he would already be done and signed.
But being the Cowboys and the way that Jerry Jones operates,
Drama Kings.
if it gets to week 1, if I was in Micah Parsons' shoes and it got to week 1 and I did not have a contract extension, I would probably say, "Sorry, fellas, I'm not going to play today." I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with that. But again, any other organization, I'm playing. But because of the way Jerry Jones operates, I would be probably playing. Because you know what happens if you play week 1 for Jerry Jones? You're going to play week 2 without a contract. And then week 2 is going to turn into week 10, and week 10 is going to turn into week 17, and week 17 is going to turn into hopefully the playoffs. And next thing you know, you're getting slapped with a franchise tag. So.
And a big contract.
But not an extension.
Well, Jerry is notorious for waiting until the absolute last minute to do a deal. So,
And that's the thing. That's what Darian keeps telling me is that, hey, your starting quarterback didn't have a contract until the day of the game, you know? Yeah. And so it'll probably be something like that happens. Which,
well, and when he does that, it forces the salary cap to go up, forces you to pay him way more than he probably should have been paid if you just handled it earlier. So I guess Jerry just likes giving free money.
I don't know, man. It is.
I don't either.
It's weird with the Cowboys. Last thing I did want to bring up during this segment, I mentioned earlier, according to Colton Pouncey, who covers the Lions for The Athletics, he said that yesterday's joint practice between the Lions and the Dolphins, quote, was the most lopsided joint practice I've ever seen. Lions dominated both sides, end of quote. The Dolphins are a team that last year a lot went sideways. They were 8-9. They missed the playoffs. Their best wide receiver took himself out of the final game of the season and said that he did not want to be a part of the organization anymore. He has since changed his tune on that and is now seems like he's happy being with the Dolphins. But a lot of eyes are on the head coach and saying that if it doesn't get done this season, maybe you have to make a change with Mike McDaniel. Where are you at with this Miami Dolphins teams? I know you and Darian have been going through all the teams, talking win totals, talking season predictions. I did not hear what if y'all have talked about the Dolphins. I'm seeing a win total set at 8.5 on BetMGM. So that'd be one more win than what they had last year.
Huh. I'm trying to remember what we said or what I said, because I think we might have agreed on it. I'm not entirely sure. But like we were talking about a little bit earlier, I said with the Dolphins that they have a chance to be a great sleeper pick this year. I mean, you look at the other teams in that division. You got the Patriots, the Jets, and the Bills. You're not outperforming the Bills. They're going to win this division again this year. A lot of people saying the Patriots are going to make big strides into this year with Drake May at the helm. You got Stephon Diggs to help him out there. I don't think anybody's really expecting much from the Giants or the Jets. They're going to be bottom dwellers yet again. So I don't know, but probably a strong second place finish for them in the conference, in their division.
It's not what I asked though.
I know. I'm trying to look at their schedule to see their schedule. For the most part, their schedule is not that daunting for them. I think if they go out there and play their game, said 8.5. I could see 9 wins for them this year.
Hey, seems like it's going to be kind of on that line though. We talked about who's the team we talked about last week of kind of being, was it Florida State, or maybe that was a couple weeks ago. We talked about Florida State and their schedule of kind of what game. I think there's that 7.5, 6.5.
Yeah.
And we were like, they're going to be right there at 6 or 7 wins. Feels like Miami might be at 8 or 9 wins this year.
I think so. I can see a 9-win team for them this year.
That's why Vegas is good at what they do. They're
sure
in the
are.
business of making money, not giving away money. And so that's why these odds are where they're at. But I definitely think the Dolphins a team to keep an eye on because
I think so. Still got Tyreek, got a healthy Tua, got Jalen Waddle out there, got Nick Westbrook-Akine out there too. They got some weapons.
Well, and I think Tyreek Hill, we mentioned him, being frustrated at the end of last season. Now it seems like he's happy. Can you keep him happy? Will he stay happy throughout the season? Because when you have something like that,
just keep feeding him the rock.
Everything's
and pay
great
him,
now,
and I think
sure.
he'll be fine.
Absolutely. So I think Dolphins definitely gonna be a team to keep an eye on this year. But let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Newsflash! Family Leisure needs your help. Family Leisure has a warehouse full of inventory, and they need it cleaned out. Do your part to make room for new items, and you get great deals on almost everything. Listen up. All in-stock patio furniture, it's up to 80% off. You can get a 4-piece deep seating set for under $1,000. Chaise lounges. You buy one and you're going to need another, and that other one will be one half off. All Pollywood furniture, it's now 20 to 30% off. You buy any dining table, you're going to get an umbrella absolutely free, and they're not cheap. Now, is financing available? You better believe it. Special financing is a go. To sum it all up, Family Leisure has got to clear out its warehouse inventory, which means you're going to rack up the savings. Help Family Leisure clear out the warehouse. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together to clean out the warehouse.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner. Maybe start with an appetizer like our baked sweet peculiar peppers stuffed with goat cheese and mozzarella, finished with basil pistou, and move on to one of our cozy dishes like the double chocolate stout braised boneless beef short ribs with tonkatsu sauce and creamy mashed potatoes, or a fresh seafood dish like our pan-roasted ginger buttered sea bass with cilantro soy vinaigrette. I get hungry just talking about it. Don't forget about dessert, our famous sweet buttermilk pie with brown sugar sauce, or drink your dessert with one of our signature dessert cocktails, like the lemon cheesecake martini, lemony, icy, frothy, and dusted with graham cracker crumbs. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us. We can't wait to serve you.
Congratulations to Napa Cafe, celebrating 27 years of great food and service for you. Napa Cafe.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the hell is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Memphis Men's Clinic, but he's scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Got you, Mike. His nephew Tommy ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Memphis Men's Clinic is the real deal, fellas. Local experts. Test results in minutes. Call 901-390-4151 or hit MemphisMen'sClinic.com before your lady books a new co-star. Memphis Men's Clinic. Making it happen.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
With this hour every day brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville, the #1 Ford dealership in the Mid-South. Landers Ford is your trusted destination, a vehicle that fits any lifestyle, seamless shopping experience from vehicle choice to financing and service, from the Ford Escape to the rugged F-150 to the adventurous Bronco. Every vehicle built Ford tough. Ford F-150, America's best-selling truck. SUVs like the Ford Escape, Ford Edge, Ford Explorer, Ford Expedition, Ford Bronco, EVs and hybrids. Transparency, professionalism, and a long-term support team at Landers Ford in Collierville. Oil changes, tires rotated. Go online and schedule when it suits you the best. It'll be done quickly to meet your schedule. At Landers Ford, very active in the community. They're in Collierville at 2082 West Poplar Ave. LandersFordMemphis.com. If it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brown. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
All right, Landon, my big number today is the number 13. That's because Kyle Schwarber for the Phillies has hit a home run in each of his last 13 series. The only longer single-season streaks in Major League Baseball history, so more home runs in series, is Mark McGwire, who had 20 in 1996, and Sammy Sosa, who had 15 in 1998.
Good company.
Good company. Both those guys were doing steroids.
Yeah, well.
Kyle Schwarber
We
wasn't.
can overlook that.
Well, we don't think Kyle Schwarber is doing steroids.
Yeah.
So maybe, do we put Kyle Schwarber above those guys? Or
No.
He's now alone?
I wouldn't.
Because those two guys did steroids.
So? Just trying to be the best at their craft.
That's right. You know what?
They were for a while.
They were. They absolutely were. And don't even get me started on Barry Bonds, because that guy.
All right, I won't.
Incredible. And I don't care what you say about, this is my monthly rant. I don't care what you say about anything Barry Bonds did in terms of steroid usage. Guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I agree.
Guy's incredible.
You hear Barry Bonds, you think baseball.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
They're inseparable.
One of the best to ever do it, and absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame.
I absolutely agree. Well, Darian and I earlier were talking about the BMW Championship and
Yes,
where
it's
they're
back
playing. Yeah, it is back on.
They were in like a 3-hour rain delay.
I know they took a little break, like that old Super Bowl commercial where the first halftime was brought to you by Pepsi. That's not true, by the way. So we were talking about the BMW Championship and where they're playing. That is the Caves Valley Golf Club in Owings Mills, Maryland.
Okay.
And the membership there is an initiation fee of only $100,000.
All right.
And plus the bonus added of an annual due of $20,000. So in total, you're spending about $120,000 to be a member at this golf club. But that is not my big number. My big number is I went and looked at the most expensive golf membership in the United States of America, and that can be found in La Quinta, California, on the Madison Club, with an initiation fee of my big number, $500,000. I couldn't find the annual cost that adds on to it, but I did find that the Madison Club has proud members such as the entire Kardashian family and Apple CEO Tim Cook.
How much golf do you think Tim Cook's playing?
Oh, he's out. He's got to be out there every week.
Out there all the time.
Yeah, just
I mean, if
coming
you're
up
spending
with
that much money,
coming up with new ideas for new iPhones and just trying to get that camera so much better. And what better place to do it than on a beautiful golf course in the Madison Club?
And good for the Madison Club. I mean, that's fantastic.
$500,000 to be a member.
If you had $500,000,
I am not being a member
around,
of a golf club.
But it's probably a country club. You know, like
there's got to be more.
There's
got to be
a
like
swimming pool,
a built-in water park somewhere,
sure.
like
they've got to have
inflatable houses for
at the
kids.
very least. It's a social club, you know.
It's got to be the Madison Club.
Madison Club. I mean, they got to have everything, you know. I mean,
you would hope so. It's
oh yeah, this place is lavish.
I mean, it's got to be just. It's got to be just the community of, I don't know, mansions.
Here's the thing, though.
Oh, yeah. Nice pool, palm trees.
Here's the thing.
Wow, this place is beautiful.
Here's the thing.
Oh, my
That's great.
goodness.
You know what? It's great. It's fantastic. It is beautiful. I'm looking at the pictures and videos now. This place is gorgeous.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have never seen the
that is
Madison,
gorgeous.
oh my
right.
goodness!
I'm gonna try to continue to say this, even though I now see the Madison. I see how nice it is.
Woo.
If you have $500,000 just laying around that you can spend on your initiation fee, that's just the initiation fee. I don't know how much like the yearly membership or whatever it is
I
to
couldn't
stay
find
a
the
part
annual
of
fee.
the Madison Club. You can go to a slightly less nice, slightly less expensive country club that is about the same as the Madison Club. I say that, and after seeing the Madison Club, I don't know. This place is really nice.
This place, I mean.
Hey, good for the Kardashians. Good for Tim Cook.
I mean, this has to be, like, you can probably live here part time. I'm sure there's like rooms and stuff here.
I'm sure they got something. I'm sure at the very least they have like.
And not even to mention, the golf course is stunning.
Golf course looks good. They've got yoga class. I mean, they got it all. Yeah, I understand why people are
yeah, it's starting to make a lot more. Yeah,
starting to make a lot of
sense. They have pickleball courts. They have yoga training. They have all these. Yeah, this is not a.
So you take back everything you said about not spending $500,000 on a golf club.
No, I'll stick true to it. If I have $500,000, I'm doing something else. I'm not gonna waste it all on an initiation fee for the Madison Club. But if I was just rolling in money, then yes, I would consider it.
Might as well. We need to wrap up this second hour, get to another break, and when we return, we're talking Tigers. Greg Gaston, he joins us. We got to talk about the starting quarterback for the Tiger football team, the upcoming season, and we got to talk a little Tiger basketball. We'll do all that next on Sports Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Everything today is technologically based. Well, except maybe you. If you're struggling with tech, no matter what kind, call Tech For You. Tech For You for TVs, home theaters, cameras, smart locks, digital storage, and more. Tech For You makes it simple and affordable. Call 697-9695. Make your home safe, comfortable, and up to date with Tech For You. Stop struggling with tech. Call 697-9695. Veteran-owned and operated Tech For You. Technology simplified.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
This traffic report is brought to you by Millington Weight Loss. For more information, call 901-436-0272.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We're still dodging a few rain showers out here, especially south of Memphis in certain counties. As you work your way down 55, where it's getting heavier down through South Haven into DeSoto County. Trying to pick up already over here on 240 East with a little bit more volume from Mill Branch all the way out to Bill Morris Parkway. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters. Go see David right now at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden, weekdays from 11 to 1. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian Landon with you. No Brett today. He's out the rest of this week. He'll also be out days off before we start the college football season. But speaking of college football, we got to talk the Tigers and their upcoming season. They just named their starting quarterback yesterday, and we talk Tigers every single afternoon with Greg, or every single Thursday with Greg Gaston.
On Sports 56 mornings, along with Eli Savoy from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. On Twitter X at Greg_Gaston. Here's Greg with Bryant and Brett.
Greg Gaston joins us every Thursday to talk Tigers. Make sure you listen to him every single morning with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli from 7 to 10 every weekday morning. Greg, thanks so much for joining us. The Tigers officially named Brendan Lewis the starting quarterback. All signs were pointing to the Nevada transfer being the starter, but now we can actually say he will be the starting quarterback. What did you make of that news?
Yeah, good answer, gentlemen. Good afternoon, rather. There's no surprise here, right? Everybody expected when they brought in a guy who had the experience that Brendan Lewis had, who had 1 year of eligibility left, that even though there's a couple of young guys that have a lot of potential on that roster, most believe that Lewis would end up winning the job. So, again, not a surprise whatsoever. He's been there since the spring. He has the experience. He has that leadership quality. We had a chance to talk to him on Sports 56 Mornings several months ago. Really a delightful guy to talk to. Yeah, I think they're in good hands. Now it's going to be a different style of offense to a certain degree, and I think people realize that. Hennigan's gone. They've been used to Seth for 4 years, and now Lewis will come in with a lot of different RPO plays that will be designed by Tim Cramsey, a lot of different things that they'll do with Lewis, moving him in and out of the pocket, and that's a lot different from Hennigan, who would run for necessity or by necessity when the pocket would break down. He was obviously a pocket passer. Lewis will stick in the pocket and he'll throw the ball, but again, when things break down, he's gone, and there will be design plays. So we'll see a bit of a change with the offense.
We talk about it, kind of the expectation was that Brendan Lewis would be the starting quarterback, but I was a little surprised, and I had a couple buddies that were texting me about it. What kind of reaction did you see? Because I saw a handful of people upset, whether it was on social media or even on the text line, about Brendan Lewis being named the starter, wanting the young 4-star recruit A.J. Hill to be the starter, and really kind of worried about this day and age of the transfer portal of, okay, if you don't start him, then that means, he could really be ready to leave once the season is over and jump in the transfer portal. What kind of reaction have you seen to Brendan Lewis being named the starting quarterback?
Well, I hear what you're saying, and I've seen a little bit about that, but that's foolish. He's not ready to go. He understands the situation. Believe me, he and his family knew exactly what they were getting into. They did not expect that he was going to be the starter. I don't believe they did, and I don't think that's changed. Arrington Maiden is a guy who may have thought that he would win that job, and he certainly pushed Lewis. There's no question. He had a great spring game. I was out there and watched him. So I think they have very capable guys. Now, you can't concern yourself necessarily with what's going on for the future, even though it is a big part of it with NIL and now rev sharing and players in the portal leaving at the drop of a hat. You have to do what you think is right for this team. There is no way you're going to bow to any kind of pressure to play somebody when they're not ready. You're going to play the player that you think can help you win games. And right now, Lewis, with the experience, is that guy. It doesn't mean that these guys aren't going to be important parts of the future. Who knows what will happen there? And maybe even they have to be ready for the possibility of any kind of things that maybe Tim Cramsey draws up and involve them. Remember, as a freshman, certainly you have the ability for Hill to play 4 games if they elect to do that. Or, of course, with Maiden, if you want to save a year, the same situation, although he's been with the program for a little bit. So it bothers me when people on the outside who don't really know how this battle's going on. I've watched practices. I know what's happening right there, and I think this was the decision that was the best for the team at the moment. We'll see. We'll see what happens when these games are played. If there's any kind of issues, any kind of struggles, these are intelligent coaches. They want to win games as much as anybody. Right. So they'll, if they have to make a change, they'll make a change. But believe me, the experience won it over for Lewis. I think Hill and Maiden are both capable guys who have bright futures.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was Land and I were talking about it yesterday when the news came out that at that spring game, I was most impressed with Arrington Maiden and what he was doing, pushing the ball down the field. Some of the throws he made were really impressive. But I think you're right, and I think kind of like you were saying, A.J. Hill has been around the program, since I think January was when he got on campus, and so I'm pretty sure that the signs that we've been seeing over the summer into fall that Brendan Lewis was going to be the starter, those same signs were there inside the coaching offices, inside the locker room, inside those meetings back in the spring. And so, AJ had the opportunity to, if he had wanted to, if he was upset about the decision and wanted to be a starter year one, to transfer in the spring. And so I'm sure, him and his family knew that this was probably going to happen. Like you said, I think that is a really, really good point. When you look at the rest of this offense, we know Ryan Silverfield has kind of called the wide receiver room, I think called it a grab bag a couple of weeks ago of just kind of, you don't really know what to expect with some of these guys, but who are some guys that you think could be some impact players early in the season, some guys that Brendan Lewis could find some good connections with?
Well, I think the tight ends are going to be really good. They lost 3 tight ends that were productive from last year's team, including Anthony Lanphier, Brendan Doyle, who was a touchdown maker. But when you examine this team right now, there are some question marks with the wide receivers. I don't think there's going to be question marks with the tight end. Bryce Anderson and Jerry Cross, who comes from Penn State. Anderson comes from a junior college. So they come from, obviously, Penn State, huge Division I program, power conference, and Anderson comes from a small school. These 2 guys have the ability to catch the ball. They have great hands. They're big. They can block. And they have a couple of other guys behind them that they feel very comfortable with. Brad Salem, the tight ends coach, was talking to the media yesterday about that. He's really confident in the depth he has. Look for those tight ends to be guys that will be weapons, certainly, for all the quarterbacks. And then the wide receiver room, we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's guys that are trying to make a name for themselves. I think Brady Cluse is going to be a really good receiver. He is I would consider him way more than just a guy who's going to go in the slot, catch short passes, and be that kind of guy. He's a guy who I think could run posts, go down the field. He's got some deceptive speed, and he's big. Klus is big. I like him a lot. They got some guys like Henry on the outside that really have to step up, and he's had high expectations since he came in. And then Smith is the guy who I think they really believe could blossom. But there's some other guys that are out there that are vying for some playing time and to be impact players. They got a couple of guys that are back from last year, Hawkins and Bussey. So I like them personally, but I can understand where Coach Cramsey's coming from because nobody's really differentiated themselves from the other. So you certainly want to see a couple of guys step up here in the last 2 weeks before the regular season opener against Chattanooga. But I love the tight ends. I love the offensive line. And then, of course, we've spoken about it before. You don't have to say too much about DeWosier and Sutton Smith. You knock on wood that he looks great. He's coming back from injury. Those two guys could be game changers. And I liked him last year as a true freshman, is Bodiford. I think he could be that big bruiser that Thomas was. And I think he's more than just a goal line type guy, short yardage guy. I think he can come in there and spell those guys, kind of give them a little thunder and lightning combination. So I really do. It's just like the problem is it's not a problem, but a lot of people don't know all these guys. They know the running backs. They don't know these names. They just look at what Memphis lost and they think that they're going to completely drop off the face of the earth. And I don't expect that to happen.
Yeah, you mentioned Sutton Smith. I've not been to any practices, but everything I've heard from people that have been there is that he looks phenomenal coming off that injury. I know you have to kind of be very cautious with what you say, but can you say anything about how he looks in terms of his health and a little bit about what you've seen from him?
Well, I really can't because we're sworn to secrecy. Right. But let's just say he's out there, he's practicing, and he's ready to go for what hopefully will be a great season.
Good. That's all I really need to hear. As long as he's ready to go, I have complete confidence and faith that Sutton Smith is going to be really good once he's out there off of that injury. On the defensive side, we know kind of the same thing with the offense. It's going to be a lot of new pieces. What can you say about this linebacker group? I know a lot of excitement about these guys, but a lot of new pieces to that core.
Brumfield and Rusal, the transfer from UAB, I think will anchor that linebacking core. I really like the linebackers. I really do. Now, I take it with a grain of salt because you lose out on the guy who the last 2 years has been a dominant defensive player at that position for Memphis and Chandler Martin. So you don't have him anymore. But I think they did a really good job going out and identifying players and then going ahead and getting them in the portal. I think they're going to be really good at linebacker. The defensive line is still a little questionable with some of the. Now they got Whitlow. I think Whitlow will be really good. He's improved so much, and he's a guy they really are calling upon to become a monster up there. But I just don't know until I see it if they're going to be able to get that pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Again, I don't know too much other than a little bit of what I've seen. But I think that this is not a secret that going into the spring and now going into August camp, the defensive line, there was battles going on, and who knows who will come out on top. The secondary, I think there's some talent in the secondary. There's always going to be some question marks. That's, I think, along with the offensive line, trying to figure out your starting defensive backs is not an easy task because there is so many teams with the need for depth at that position. So not only they're going out and getting starters in the portal, but they're getting a lot of depth with those. So you're getting what you can get. And that's after usually the power schools have combed through those guys. But with Memphis, as you know, Brian, they've done pretty well with money and raising money for NIL and for rev sharing. So they've done a good job in being able to get some of these players, and I know they're very happy with them. But I think that's a little bit of a question mark. I don't think the O-line's a question mark at all. So, the two areas that I always think about every single year for Memphis is what's the offensive line going to be like? What's the secondary going to be like? I think the secondary's got some talent, but certainly I want to go see them play in a game. the offensive line, I feel really good about the depth on this team. They got some guys that are back. They got some newcomers, some good transfers. So if that offensive line does what I think they can do, I think it's going to be a really fun year. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit different with what they're going to do on offense, but it's an added incentive, I think, for fans to be able to watch, this quarterback use his legs to beat teams as well as his arm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you talk about a lot of new pieces to this Tiger team, but I think Ryan Silverfield has done a really nice job of bringing in really talented guys to fill those spots. And maybe the story of this new transfer portal, or maybe the saying of the new transfer portal, I forgot that guy committed. Kamari Wilson, a guy that started his career at Florida, was at Arizona State last year, now at Memphis. And I know Jonah Dillon over at the Commercial Appeal has written a couple stories about Kamari Wilson, but they're hoping for big things from him, a guy that has had a ton of experience at the Power 5 level.
It's interesting because when you're at this level, and when I say level, meaning group of 5, you can get players that have played at bigger programs, but there's different reasons why you get them.
Right.
Sometimes in the past you get them because maybe they had a falling out. It didn't work out, and they're just looking for a new home. Sometimes it's that they just were beaten out, and now they want to try to make a name for themselves, and they find an opportunity wherever it may be in the group of 5. And then there are some that actually were pretty good where they were, and yet still don't have any issues coming to play for a proven program like Memphis. And I think Wilson is certainly one of them. They got guys, if you look at the transfers where they've come from, you get small schools, you get some junior colleges, but you also get some big-time programs. So you just cruise when you get a chance the roster. Go online to Go Tigers Go and see where these guys have transferred from. And some of these guys, who was the guy from Arkansas, the defensive back from recently that came over?
Oh, my gosh. I can't even think of his
I know.
name now, but he was really good.
Thinking about it as I'm talking. Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. He was a really good player, and he decided to come to Memphis.
That's right.
It's not always because something happened at the bigger program, or they got. But I think a lot of times it is they look for playing time.
Oh, definitely.
And this happens in basketball all the time, but it happens in football as well. And Memphis is doing a great job in finding those type of players. I think they do a sensational job, again, in identifying and then going out there and being able to get these players.
Yeah, but you're kind of right. There's almost like a stereotype about guys when they transfer from Power 5 to Group of 5. It's like, oh well, they must have been a problem, or they weren't very good at the Power 5. But that's not always the case with some of these guys. Talking to Greg Gaston, he joins us every single Thursday to talk Tigers. Over on the basketball side of things, earlier today, Penny Hardaway was on on Andy Katz's podcast to talk about his offseason, some of his guys, but he was asked about the opening on his staff at the assistant position with Nolan Smith taking the job at Tennessee State. Penny Hardaway said that he's being very slow and kind of taking his time with this in making that decision, saying, quote, I have to be careful and not make a quick decision on who's going to fill those shoes. Where do you think we're at in terms of a timeline for learning who that new assistant will be?
Yeah, I don't think it'll linger more than another month, but it may be next week. He said specifically, I've been really fast in deciding vacancies in the past, so I'm going to take my time. I'm going to thoroughly look through things, and he has a lot of options. He has had coaches that have contacted him over the years because they've had a lot of openings, let's be honest. And so a lot of people would love to coach at Memphis, but also coach under Penny Hardaway. So there are names. There are former head coaches. There are former assistant coaches. There are guys that have been around for a long time. There are young guys looking to step up. So it all depends on what he's trying to do. And I don't know if he's looking for, let's say, a tactician. Let's say he's looking for a big man coach, or he's looking for something. So I don't know what he's specifically looking at, but he has guys who have the experience that you would know, names that you would know that have local connections. He also has guys actually on his staff that he can decide to elevate. You know, a guy like Andre Turner, who now has the head coaching experience at Lane, having coached at Mitchell High School, and a former Tiger great. Obviously, the name Todd Day has surfaced, and that's a friend of Penny's, and he's known him for a long time. But like Penny said, he's going to take his time, and he should, because there are a lot of viable candidates. But I think it's an important job. You have Jermaine Johnson, who's been elevated again to that assistant coach. We know what he's all about, defensive-oriented. Mike Davis is a proven coach who's been around a long, long time. But are you going to go after that dogged recruiter, the one that's going to make all the rounds and really bang the doors down? So I don't know. It's a tough decision because there's so many good candidates, but also it makes sense for him to take his time to make the right selection.
Absolutely. But you're right. I think there are a lot of really good candidates out there that could fill that position. I think who you were talking about, the Arkansas DB that came to Memphis, Simeon Blair, who was the captain at Arkansas. And then
so soon I forget.
Memphis. Yeah, that's it happens to all of us, I'm afraid. But we are getting closer and closer to the season. It's not going to be too much longer before we're out there watching the Tigers and Chattanooga. Greg, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next Thursday.
Sounds great. You guys take care.
Thanks, Greg. Greg Gaston joining us to talk about the Tigers and the upcoming season. A lot of Tiger football talk, but a little bit of Tiger basketball talk at the end there. And yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a really talented Tiger team. I think they can be really good. You know, I know Brett and Darian went through their college football playoff on Tuesday, their projections for that, and both had Memphis in the top 12. We went through ours. We both had Memphis outside of our top 12, and mine, right, it had nothing to do with how talented I think they are going to be or anything. It's just the fact that it's a whole lot of new pieces, and I just want to see how this team gels before saying they're going to be a college football playoff candidate. Because last year that team brought back a whole bunch of guys. There was a whole bunch of guys that have proven they could do it, proven that they were winners, and ultimately came up just a little bit short. Now it's a bunch of new guys that you got to put together and see, can they mesh and get the job done. And they certainly have the talent to do it. We'll see what it looks like. And a good start to the season. Kind of get your feet wet against Chattanooga, an FCS opponent. But Chattanooga usually over the last couple of years has been a team that has been in the FCS top 25, if I recall correctly. Don't quote me on that. But.
Well, I certainly won't. But I think barring any surprising or terrible losses, I mean, Memphis should ideally have another 10-win season, 11-win too. We can ideally see one loss probably coming to Tulane, who is the favorite to win the American this year. We just can't have any UTSA games. We can't have games where we're off. We can't have any we just can't have that. If we have that, you can kiss any kind of playoff hope goodbye. But barring everything goes well, we win the American, we get that, Power 12 or Group of 5, 12 seed locked in. I mean, you could be looking at something great for Memphis. Definitely. I mean, Ryan Silverfield has, if anything, he has been consistent, and we've been consistently winning. And we kind of talked about that yesterday. I mean, kind of ushered in that new age with Justin Fuente and Paxton Lynch, that ushered in that new era of Memphis football where we were bottom dwellers, and now, bowl games are the norm. Winning seasons are the norm, and it doesn't look like we're going backwards anytime soon. So probably hoping to look for some big things this year for Memphis Tiger football.
Definitely. And so I was wrong. Chattanooga has not been. I think I'm confusing them with UT Martin. I think UT Martin has had a good team last year, maybe.
Good old Skyhawks.
There was a team. I know Tennessee State was pretty good last year, but there was at least one, maybe two teams in Tennessee Tech in the preseason. Maybe that's who I was thinking of. Tennessee Tech. I have the preseason FCS top 25. I just want to see if Chattanooga's in there. I'm not gonna list off the teams in the preseason top 25. But I think it will be a good opportunity for Memphis to get out there against Chattanooga, against an FCS opponent, a game that I think everybody that's in Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium that game are expecting Memphis to win, and go out there and really kind of get a feel for everything in a real game, maybe even get some more of those guys, whether it's at the quarterback position, whether it's at some of those other positions, get them reps and kind of really figure out who are going to be your guys going forward. So I'm excited for the start of the season, and only a couple weeks away from Memphis and Chattanooga. Well, we need to get to a break here in a second, but before we do that, let me remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsor. It's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology, enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. That's 877-259-6169. Go online, JaguarBluffCity.com, but head out there and test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. Let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the hell is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Memphis Men's Clinic, but he's scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Got you, Mike. His nephew Tommy ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Memphis Men's Clinic is the real deal, fellas. Local experts. Test results in minutes. Call 901-390-4151 or hit MemphisMen'sClinic.com before your lady books a new co-star. Memphis Men's Clinic. Making it happen.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
The good news is that this Memphis summer heat is supposed to break in October. The better news is that Bell Tavern, Memphis's perfect downtown neighborhood bar, is always nice and cool, and the beer at Bell Tavern is always ice cold. It's cool inside, but the staff and your fellow Bell Tavern visitors are just about the warmest bunch of folks you're ever going to meet. You don't have to live downtown to enjoy Bell Tavern. Everyone is welcome, as long as they act like grown-ups. That's the secret to Bell Tavern. Everyone there is expected to be friendly and adult. That's how you become a great neighborhood bar.
This traffic report brought to you by Salt Sports Bar and Bistro, 3101 South Mendenhall Road, where great food meets the big game.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's pretty busy out here. You pretty much would expect, especially this time of the afternoon. 240 getting on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. Some nasty thunderstorms are still floating around south of Memphis this afternoon. As you travel down sections of I-55, you may run into some of that headed down towards DeSoto County, so be careful. Hey, want a greener or more weed-free lawn here in the Memphis area? Call Lawn Solutions at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Here comes the mirror man, says he's a people fan. Here comes the mirror man.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Landon with you as we got about 30 minutes left in today's show. We got to talk about what's trending. And Landon, yesterday we discussed the potential of ESPN starting a college football red zone, where they kind of the exact same thing of the NFL red zone, where they just bounce around from game to game and you see all the highlights and you see all the big drives and everything that you have come to love with NFL red zone. But we also talked about maybe the blockers that could be in the way of getting a college football game day started. And according to Front Office Sports earlier today, Fox is unlikely to license Big 10 or Big 12 games to ESPN for a potential college football red zone. They said that they would need to have a significant ownership of the venture if it would be willing to participate. So Fox basically saying,
that makes sense.
You got to give us a good portion of this for us to even think about the idea of giving you some of our games, which, again, yes, it makes a perfect sense because, one, now this is from the Fox side. We kind of talked about it from the ESPN side yesterday.
Right.
If I'm watching this red zone and there's a 10-7 game in the fourth quarter and ESPN College Football Red Zone just told me that the team that's down by 3 has the ball with 3 minutes left in the game, well, I'm probably going to change it to Fox and watch the rest of that game. And so now ESPN's losing viewers to their competitor in Fox. Well, on the other side for Fox, if I'm Fox, I don't want ESPN using my games and doing live cut-ins, and people are just like, well, I don't need to go over to Fox. I can see all the big plays, and I can see all the big drives right here on ESPN's College Football Red Zone. I'm not even going to turn it over to Fox. So I think smart for Fox to say, no, if we're going to be a part of this, we're going to need something from this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But we'll see where it goes from here. I hope we get something like it. Like, I think that'd be fun if we had something along the lines of a college football red zone. But it looks like there are going to be some things that they have to get past in order for that to get done. We talked earlier about the NBA and all of the national televised games that the Grizzlies have. Only 10 nationally televised games for the Grizzlies. I believe I did the count. Someone had a list of all the games. That would put them either 17th or 18th in the NBA for most nationally televised games. Do you think that's
I think that's about right.
Sounds like the right spot for it. I think
we haven't done enough as the Grizzlies in the past few years to warrant being top 10, certainly not top 5, but I think a lot depends on how this year goes. I feel like if we ball out this year, we earn that spot. We're not doing play-in on the playoffs, and, I really think a lot of this depends on our big-name stars playing a lot of games. Because if you're having Ja out there maybe once or twice per month, that's not going to give us ratings. It's not going to give us people. I mean, I always go back to this. Me and my buddy used to go to Grizzlies games all the times, and he said, we would go to about 5 a year during the fall, and he said, I've never been to a Grizzlies game where Ja is playing, which is just that's not right. Like, we go to the Grizzlies games to see Ja ball out, to do that poster dunk, to make those threes, like, be the performer we drafted him to be. So if we get that on order, then we're looking at a change in viewership coming to the Grizzlies.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And this is actually something that I need to look at, and it's something, I hope you will forgive me, that I have not looked at, but I'm sure I can look it up very quickly. So NBA put out, because of the new TV sponsors and how we're going to consume the NBA this year, they put out a watch guide for the 2025 2026 NBA season. So Sundays, you can find your nationally televised games on ABC and NBC. On Mondays, you can find your nationally televised games on Peacock. Tuesday, NBC. Wednesday, ESPN. Thursday, Prime. Friday, Prime and ESPN. And Saturdays, Prime and ABC. Now, we talked about it with Brett. Brett's brought this up a couple times of how you will have nights where the NFL Sunday night football game leads into a Sunday night basketball game, or maybe vice versa. It might be a Sunday afternoon NBA game that leads into the night game. So I'm curious if we can find a game. Let's go to the NBA. Let's go into October. Let's go week 8, Sunday night. You have Green Bay at Pittsburgh. That is Sunday, October 26th. Sunday, October 26th in the NBA.
That'll be a good game.
Will it?
Yeah. Rodgers versus the Packers.
Oh, I thought you were talking about in the NBA. I thought you had the NBA game.
Oh, no. Commenting on the football.
I don't see any. Let's find if I can find the first Sunday NBA game. I'm not seeing them. They're not giving me any Sunday games or any TV for Sunday games.
Sunday
Strange.
games.
I'm sure somebody else will have. I'm sure somebody has, or I'll bring it in tomorrow. That'll be something I can have tomorrow because I cannot find anything. Now I can go to like a Thursday. No, I can't go to Thursday either. So I was gonna see if Prime. Would you have two things going on at the same time on a Thursday night when you have games on Prime?
When is this?
Just any Sunday during the NBA season. It's telling me that I can watch. That I will have a. I don't know if it's every Sunday, but Sundays during the NBA season, I can watch NBA games on ABC and NBC. That's what NBA is telling me.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of TBDs as well.
Interesting. I'll try to look into that tonight and see if I can find it. Because it shouldn't be.
A lot of these are TBDs.
It shouldn't be TBD because we know.
Well, this is just for Sundays.
Right, but I'm saying it shouldn't be TBD because we know how many nationally televised games the Grizzlies are playing, so we should know for every team how many nationally televised games they're playing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they have a few of those. Sunday, October 26th, a lot of those are only on League Pass and FanDuel Sports Network.
Yeah. Well, I'll figure that out. We'll figure out if we have some overlap and kind of what those will look like for the upcoming season. But speaking of the NFL, Cam Ward, your starting quarterback for your Tennessee Titans.
Yes, they are.
Miami offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson believes he has another number 1 pick this season with Carson Beck. Landon, I ask you.
No.
Carson Beck be the number 1
No.
pick in the NFL draft?
No. Not even close.
I think, and we talk about this a lot, you always got to take what coaches say with a grain of salt. A lot of times, and they should be hyping up their guy. Like, there's not a coach in the country that's going to come out.
There's confidence, and then you look at what Carson Beck just did at Florida last year. Dude threw interceptions like he was just giving out free money to people.
How many interceptions did he have last year?
I think there was multiple games where he had 3 interceptions.
Yeah, that's not good. You don't want to have multiple games where you're having 3 interceptions. Let's see.
Let us see here.
12 interceptions.
12 interceptions. 28 TDs, 12 interceptions.
That's double the amount of interceptions he had in 2023.
Yeah, back-to-back games.
That's crazy.
Florida and Texas, 3 interceptions.
That's nuts.
And then he had another one in Alabama, 3 interceptions.
Yeah, it's not great.
2 against Mississippi State.
That's not great.
That's not good.
That's not good.
That's not good at all.
No.
Now, does he change it around? I don't think so, because almost all of Miami's receiving core last year either transferred or got drafted.
Wow. So that doesn't.
So I disagree with that statement.
You know what? I would also disagree with that statement. Speaking of Cam Ward, because he was the number 1, are we calling him Cam or are we calling him calling him Cameron? I don't know if I've posed this
There's a
question.
lot of people that are calling him Cameron. I think if you're a Titans fan, you have the right to call him Cam Ward. Everyone else, I would ask you to address him as
that right?
Mr. Ward.
You know what I said about it? I think you have to earn Cam. Like you are Cameron until you earn Cam.
I just don't agree.
Like,
what do you mean? Like, he earns the name Cam?
Well, so the first time I realized that people were calling him Cameron is ESPN. It was First Take, and the lower third with the topic they were talking about was right when the Madden ratings came out, and it said Titans quarterback Cameron Ward only a 72 on Madden or something like that, or gets 72 on Madden. And so they, obviously a lot of people talking about the super low rating. And so I was shocked that they were referring to him as Cameron. And at the time, I thought it was like an inside joke on First Take. Like I thought they had some sort of inside joke where they were calling him Cameron instead of Cam, because I've never heard anybody refer to him as Cameron Ward. He's always been Cam Ward, whether he was at Washington State or Miami or even at Incarnate Word. He was always Cam Ward. I never saw anybody call him Cameron. So I thought it was like an inside joke. Then I found out that a lot of people are calling him Cameron, and like beat writers for the Titans are calling him Cameron Ward. Not all of them, but some of them are calling him Cameron. And so I said, especially since he was a 72 on Madden, you at least got to be a 75 for me to refer to you as Cam. You got to earn that nickname.
It could be something where, maybe, I don't know if he's requested to be called Cameron.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to look up. Like
Well,
that happens a
because
lot.
the only thing I have to relate to that is with my first name. When I got to college, all my professors called me by my first name.
And I'm guessing your first name is not Landon.
No, it's not. That's my middle name.
Okay.
So it's kind of that thing where I don't know, maybe a sign of professionalism or something like that.
Well, so here's what I think, and I'm trying to look it up because I think I've looked this up. And I think so. The Tennessee Titans, on the Tennessee Titans website, it calls him Cameron Ward.
It's got to be a professionalism thing.
My guess is that obviously his legal name is Cameron Ward, but he goes by Cam Ward. And so in the media guide on the team website, they listed him as his government name, Cameron Ward. And so I'm sure a lot of these media members are just looking at the roster. They know it's Cam, but they see Cameron, and they're like, oh, maybe he's going by Cameron now, or maybe he wants to go by Cameron, and they're just calling him Cameron Ward because that's what's in
Makes sense to me.
the media guide. That's the only guess I have. And it happens a lot where guys will get somewhere and they want to, either go by their middle name, or they have been going by their middle name, they want to go by their first name, or want it to be Cameron instead of Cam. It happens constantly. But I bring that up because I learned this earlier today. Can you guess who had the highest quarterback rating among rookies with more than 10 dropbacks on Pro Football Focus for preseason week 1? So highest quarterback ranking, highest rated rookie quarterback with more than 10 dropbacks according to Pro Football Focus for preseason week 1.
Not Madden rating.
Not Madden rating. This is the PFF.
This is like
gives
the grade report for preseason week 1.
Right, on Pro Football Focus.
Of who performed the best, I'm gonna have to say Shador.
It is not Shador.
He's got to
This
be
is
up
more
there,
of like
though.
an efficiency rating. Like this is just the numbers. Like this is not watching the game or anything.
Dart?
This is just by the numbers. Incorrect. One more guess.
Trying to think of all the rookies that played.
This guy didn't play much. I think he got 2 drives, but he had more than 10 dropbacks. I don't know how many dropbacks he had, but it wasn't many more than 10.
I like Ward.
Seth Hennigan, the highest rating
we
rookie
completely
quarterback
overlooked that
with
guy.
more than 10 dropbacks. I watched the film. I didn't watch it live, but I went back and watched his. I think he got 2 drives, and he looked good. I was impressed. Looked very comfortable. Looked very composed in the pocket. I was really impressed with what I saw from Seth Hennigan. Now it's still going to be an uphill battle to make that team. They have 4 quarterbacks on roster. Going to be an uphill battle. Last thing, speaking of football, that I want to bring up to you. Are you big high school football guy?
Love me some Houston High School.
Okay, but like national high school football. Like if you're flipping through the channels,
like De La Salle.
yeah, and you see a high school football game on ESPN, are you gonna stop and watch it?
Probably not.
Probably not. Well, tonight you can watch high school football on ESPN2. Buford, Georgia, is taking on Milton, Georgia. That is according to Rivals, a top 25 matchup among high school football teams. I bring this up.
I'll watch the highlights of high school football.
I bring this up not because of the game at all. It's because this is the highly anticipated opener for the grand opening of Buford's new $62 million stadium.
Is this in Texas?
This is in Georgia. But Buford
High
High
still
School
makes
is like
sense.
it's one of those, like, they are a football powerhouse. Like, every single year, if you see, like, the who's who teams in high school football, Buford is on that list. $62 million football stadium.
Wow.
You know what? I'll tune in just to see it.
I would too.
I want to see what a $62 million
Not as
high
much
school
as
football is.
Aloha Stadium's going to be.
Well, that's a college stadium.
400 mil.
I would hope that it costs more than a high school stadium.
You'd hope.
$62 million is insane for a high school football
For
stadium.
a high school,
Yeah,
yes.
that's nuts.
But, I mean, you drive around Texas.
That's true.
And basically all high school football in Texas is the
It blows my
University of High School.
It blew. I remember being down in Texas when I was younger and driving by. I don't even remember what high school it was, but just a random high school football stadium. And I mean, I would have sworn to you that it was a college stadium, like a small college football
Mhm.
stadium. No, it was just a high school football stadium. So they do it different in Texas, and I guess they do it different in Georgia.
That's the thing. Like, even FCS schools are not.
Oh, no.
They don't have stadiums
No,
like this.
I mean, it's crazy.
Man.
It is insane. But I'll tune in tonight just to see what a $62 million high school stadium looks like. But we got to get to our final break of the day, and when we return, we'll wrap up today's show with Moe's Crunch Time.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RADIO to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need a crunchy bite to eat? Head to Moe's for nachos, crunch wraps, tacos, salads, and more. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Say you stand by your man. Tell me something I don't understand.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Panning the globe. Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the favorite president. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! It's obviously Crunch Time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need catering? Moe's Taco Truck is always ready to cater for you. Just give Jenny Nash a call, 901-606-3172. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies. Well, Landon, what I learned today is the Grizzlies schedule is officially out. We talked a lot about it throughout today's show, and I think for me, the biggest thing was how does the start of the season play out and how does the end of the season play out? Well, we talked about the beginning of the season. 8 of the first 11 games are at home, and 5 of those first 11 opponents are teams that either did not make the playoffs last year or were play-in teams. Now, the end of the season is a little different. 4 of your last 5 opponents are on the road, and you're looking at games at Milwaukee, home against Cleveland, then at Denver, at Utah, at Houston. Looks really tough. Now, I think the good news about that, and Keith Smith said this, is you look at these teams. Cleveland, I mean, I think that's still probably pretty early where they'll be playing guys, but Denver, will Denver be playing all of their guys, or will they be locked into a spot they like and not be playing anybody? Utah feels like they will maybe be in the tanking conversation at that point of the season, wanting to lose games to try to secure a top spot. And then Houston, the final game of the season. If Houston's as good as a lot of people think they'll be, then I think they'll be resting guys and not playing a lot of their key players. So, maybe it won't be as bad as it looks right now, but like he said, when you look at that just on August 14th, it looks like a brutal way to end the season.
Yeah, it sure does. What I learned today is it could classify as something I could do without, but the thing I did without is truly something I can do without. But it's got to be what's going on with Terry McLaurin and the Commanders. Just last month, the Commanders general manager, Adam Peters, said, whatever happens along the way, just understand he's a great player and we want to keep him here. And now we're in these talks of where Terry's coming out and saying he's never had a conversation with the Commanders about his contract extension. And so ESPN broke down 2 reasons as to why Washington is possibly not re-signing him and is not going to, because Terry has come out and said that he has requested a trade. One of them being his age, and 2 being his precedent, which I think are 2 interesting rulings.
Yeah.
His age, the dude is still moving, still grooving, still looks fantastic. I get age plays a factor, but I don't think it plays a factor right now for Terry McLaurin. When it comes to the Washington Commanders, Washington has 44 players under contract for 2026. That is the fewest in the NFL. The Commanders have 32 players signed through 2027, which is the second fewest. In other words, they're going to have to spend a lot of money to fill spots. And Peters has told people his goal isn't just to build a roster that could win a Super Bowl in the current window. With Daniels in a rookie contract, it's to build to win every year. So, very interesting approach for the Commanders.
Well, it sounds kind of similar to another guy that's looking for a contract extension, and that's what I could have done without the Micah Parsons situation. And just the headlines that come out of it. A week after saying that he's not very confident that Micah Parsons will play in Week 1, Jerry Jones says that he expects Micah Parsons to play in Week 1, but it's not because they're making ground on a new contract or that the contract will be in place by Week 1, but it's because he's under contract right now. And if you're under contract, you should be playing. I agree with that to an extent.
To an extent, yeah.
But when I'm hearing reports and people saying that really, the Dallas Cowboys have made little to no effort to try to get a contract extension in place with Micah Parsons. Why in the world would Micah just feel like, oh yeah, that's what I have to do. I should go out there and play week 1. I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna stay calm until this plays out the way I think it might play out. Right now, it doesn't look like it's heading in a good direction.
No, what I could have done without is Oregon transfer wide receiver Ryan Pelham has committed to Deshaun Jackson and Delaware State.
All right.
The 4-star recruit has made quite an interesting decision. Delaware State last year finished 1-11 with only a 17-15 win over Sacred Heart. And before that, they lost 35-14 against the Mighty Bows of Hawaii.
Yeah.
So, can't imagine that's going to serve Pelham well, or best case scenario, he single-handedly turns the program around.
Hey, but you get to play for one of the best receivers in recent NFL history.
Who went 1-11 last year?
Well, he won the coach then. He's his first year as head
Yeah,
coach.
well.
So it's a new era at Delaware State.
Believe in Oregon. Come on.
I guess, I don't really know. I don't really know. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.